Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
Oh, I bet everyone's feeling like $1 million today, huh?
So far, so good.
Plenty of you staying up till midnight. Some of you staying up till 1 a.m. watching our local ball clubs play West Coast playoff games. Probably got into the beer a little bit. Some of you.
Oh, yeah.
The pregnant lady has spoken.
I'm sure we're not the only ones dragging ass this morning. Welcome to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Yes.
I was just going to start by saying, how late did everybody stay up? Did anybody catch any of the games?
Yeah, some of it.
Some of just the Timberwolves, the first maybe hour, and then kind of for about a half hour back and forth between the Wild and Wolves.
Oh, look at you. I'm
yeah,
impressed.
I watched them, but it wasn't a choice. I just couldn't get to bed. There's nothing else to do.
I caught some of both games. It was late, so we'll try to take it slow for you. Try to keep it a mellow vibe as best we can, because I bet a lot of you aren't feeling it quite yet this morning. You just don't want to. We'll cover all the ball games for you later. It's good news for the Pigs, bad news for the Timberwolves. But I'll tell you what, Josh, I don't have the energy right now to get into it.
No, you're too mellow right now.
Trying to keep it mellow, trying to keep it slow for our listening audience. Feeling lazy. Josh, didn't you used to know a guy, or maybe you still know the guy? Tell me if this is the liquor talking. I thought you knew a guy who was so lazy that he would throw a Nerf football or something at his light switch in his bedroom instead of physically getting out of bed to turn out the lights or something like that.
Well, that doesn't sound right.
God dang
Maybe
it.
that's somebody else. I knew a guy that had a clapper. You guys remember the clapper? From back?
Yes.
I loved those commercials.
Did they actually work, though?
Yeah, they work, but
do.
sometimes too well.
Oh, okay.
Where you're watching like a late show, and all of a sudden the lights are flickering like a Marilyn Manson concert.
Like the audience applauses, and all of a sudden it's just you're all of a sudden having a seizure because of a disco light.
One year, my dad decided to actually buy everybody Christmas gifts, which is rare. Usually my mom does it, and then he's also surprised when we open them up in the morning.
Oh, I know that feeling.
But the one year he did, he bought everybody multiple clappers.
That's
he was
awesome.
obsessed with them.
I mean, even though they're completely unnecessary now with all smart switches and plugs and light bulbs, it still would be kind of cool for nostalgia's sake to have one of those clappers. I wonder if you could still get one.
I
Maybe
bet
at
you
the
could.
As Seen on TV store or something.
I certainly remember the clapper. I remember the song. You're a jingles guy, Josh. You love jingles, so
I do.
I'm sure you probably danced around your parents' house to the...
Didn't it go clap on, clap off, the clapper?
Nailed it. You can get a clapper for $24 delivered to your house by 5 o'clock today on Amazon.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Clap on,
Kind of want one.
clap off, clap on, clap off the clapper. They wrapped up with just a couple of quick ones. Oh, they sold like crazy. Everybody was losing their minds back in the day. I think that was the 1980s.
Those commercials were fun.
Feeling lazy today.
You know, you mentioned, or someone mentioned, that today might be one of those days where you just don't wanna. Dumbass welder Jesus says, I don't watch sports, and I still don't wanna. So you don't even
Yeah.
have to have stayed up late for the games last night to not wanna.
You don't have to be a sports fan to be feeling it, I guess. How about when you were a kid? Did you ever go to sleep dressed in your clothes for the next day so you didn't have to get out of bed and get dressed?
I do that
No.
now.
You do that
Yeah.
now? You really do?
Yeah, I do.
So are you right now, are you wearing what you wore while you slept?
Without the sweatshirt, yeah.
What do you? I can't see what you got on.
T-shirt
otherwise.
and shorts. The same shirt I've got on, shorts.
You wore a T-shirt and shorts while you slept.
Yeah.
And that didn't.
I try and get out of the house as quickly as possible in the morning. I can do it in 8 minutes.
Oh yeah, me too. I can get the hell out the house in easily under 10. Didn't you just burn up wearing a T-shirt and sweats, or pardon me, shorts in the sack?
No. I keep it cool in the crib. You could keep meat cold in my bedroom.
So you just pulled the hoodie on and you're out the door.
Yeah, pretty much. I brush my teeth.
Did you go ahead
I don't
and...
want you to think I don't do that.
No. You always have a beautiful smile.
Oh.
I also remember hearing a story, so I wonder where I got that. I thought it was a friend of yours who was too lazy to get out of bed to turn the lights off in their bedroom, so they just had an object that they kept by the bed that they would fire at the light switch. I don't know where I got that, but I know it was a story told on this radio program before.
I did use a Nerf ball to set off a car alarm quite regularly. One of my neighbors was a state trooper, and he had an alarm on his squad. And so quite often I would just take my Nerf ball and whip it at his car because it was so sensitive that it would go off instantaneously.
That's hilarious.
That is so much fun.
Just to get him running out the house
Pretty
in his
much,
underwear.
yeah. We had a prank war. He was much better at it than I was, especially because he would not respond. He would never acknowledge that you did something, to the point where he was unable to use one of his vehicles for a couple days because I would park as close as I could next to the driver's door, thinking he just had to go through the passenger door. It's a coupe. But the passenger door didn't work. He wouldn't call me.
So he didn't go to work for a couple
he'd find an alternate way or borrow his wife's car simply not to give me the satisfaction. And I felt like the world's biggest jerk. I had no idea I was keeping him there at his house.
I kind of like his style that he wouldn't.
He's the best.
Wouldn't give you the satisfaction.
So good.
I also remember, again, on the topic of laziness, I remember this being said on the topic at one point or another in the history of this radio program. Something about somebody, when they would cook up a meal in the microwave, they would always cook it up at 1 minute and 11 seconds or 2 minutes and 22 seconds.
That's my wife, yes.
Because they were too lazy to move their finger down to the 0 or the 5 or whatever they needed to do. They would just...
my wife does that.
1 minute and 11...
Too.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
Quicker process.
It's easier now with that 30-second button.
Oh, I love that button.
That thing rules.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the 30-second button. Well, there you go. Here's a message that Ashley passed our way, my way this morning. Ashley over here to my right. She said the ice challenge is back trending on social media. Should we do it? And by we, I mean you guys, because I'm pregnant and I'm not supposed to shock my body with cold water like that.
You can't do that. And Ashley, you can't create these challenges and then back out because you're pregnant. You don't know how eerie it is that you sent that, because yesterday afternoon my son did it with a bunch of his friends. They're all calling each other out on social media. I didn't realize it was back until a couple days ago.
Yeah, it's back.
And he got called out on it, so he did it yesterday.
Are we talking like the ice bucket challenge where you dump a bucket of ice on your head?
They dumped a cooler from the deck right on him, and he got soaked. And there was actual ice in it. It looked like it hurt. He said it hurt quite a bit.
I bet it did.
Sending you guys this reminded me when nobody on the show besides Josh knew that I was pregnant, we were asked about the possibility of doing a polar plunge. And I immediately looked it up, and they asked if me and Dana wanted to do it, of course. And I felt awful because I was like, I can't because of medical reasons. Hopefully nobody asks me what medical reasons I have.
Please nobody ask a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever done that? I did it once.
What is that?
The polar plunge.
Oh, absolutely not. I would rather do just about anything.
I've done it a few times. It's pretty fun.
I've done it once.
Oh, I wouldn't call it fun. I did it once. I felt good. They were raising money for charity, but that was not fun. There's people that enjoy it. They make a whole day out of it. There was a bikini team.
Yeah, you get in costumes and stuff with your team, and I enjoy that.
A lot of costumes.
So cool.
That is the last thing on earth I would ever find fun. I know it's for charity. yes, costumes, haha, bikinis, wah-wah-wee-wah, but cold water has a terrible effect on me. I wish I could explain. It's cold. I still remember 2 or 3 times from when I was a kid when I was cold and wet. There's something about it. There's a big word I could use, but I can't think of it right now. Cold water has a long-lasting... The sensation of being wet and cold has a scarring effect. Can anyone come up with the word?
Traumatized?
That's the word, yes.
And weren't you trapped under a dock once?
Yes.
Okay.
So there were a couple of incidents from when I was a kid that have, thank you, Dana, traumatized me. I know that's kind of dramatic, but that is the most fitting word, where no way I could even consider the polar plunge. Something about that cold, wet sensation. I'll think about it until the day that I die. I get very fearful. Yes, I was trapped under a dock. That's how poor of a swimmer I was. Trapped.
So that's the experience. That's
one of them that I can remember. That is one of them. But it didn't have to be something to where I was near death. I still remember just one morning we were young kids and we ran down to Lake Minnetonka to go swimming, and it was still relatively early. Yay! And you jump in, and oh my God, that water is cold. And then I'm cold and wet, and I still hang on to that memory. There's something about it. There's something about it that I can't shake. So it doesn't have to be something really dramatic. It just is. So no way I would ever be there.
So you're not doing the ice bucket challenge?
I think we can rule him out on that.
I meant to answer right away when I read the message from you. Absolutely not. No, I will not be competing, or whatever the word is, in the ice bucket challenge.
You get called out, you're not doing it.
No, hell no.
That's why you don't have social media.
What if that was the one and only reason? Didn't want to get called out on one of these challenges?
Oh, yeah. I was called out on it. I remember, when was this a thing? 15, 20 years ago?
About a decade ago.
I was called out, and I ignored it completely.
Yeah, it didn't look too fun. Didn't look fun, Ashley. I'll tell you that much.
So
Was he not a fan of it?
Oh, he loved it. I mean, him and his buddies loved it, but it didn't look fun to me.
At least it was, kind of nice yesterday.
Oh,
That
yeah.
helps a
That was a
little.
beautiful day.
It was a
yesterday.
nice day.
you guys know how things go from cool, and then it becomes the dumbest thing in the entire world, and then back to cool again. That's just how things work. What happened there?
That was an example of what you just said.
What did I say?
Cool, then it's not cool. You said you were taking it slow.
So
today.
she's cool again?
She's back again.
Oh, she is.
Yeah, it just went cool and not cool. I hit the button when you said that, but there's a delay.
She is. Well, tell me about this. She's back again?
She is, yes. She has made a resurgence.
What's going on?
Well, she disappeared because there was some controversy about a digital coin she was involved in. And then I think when that went away, she's coming back.
Okay, doing what? A podcast?
She's got her podcast,
Okay.
Talk to You, or Talk to Her.
You really, really love this bit. You.
Oh, I like how stupid it is, and I
Oh.
like how people like yourself get infuriated by it, which makes it more fun. If people just ignored it, it wouldn't be, but...
You're a fan.
Oh, no, I'm not a fan. I just like bits like this.
Okay.
Because it's so stupid. This thing has been so dumb since the beginning. Back in the day, you had to have some real talent or something to say to get famous. But now you can make a BJ reference, and you're talked about worldwide.
Ain't that the truth? All right. Sorry, I just didn't know if you accidentally hit a button, because I wasn't aware that she came back, that she's back. So, the hawk to a girl. Here's the direction I was heading. Things are cool, and then they become just the tackiest, most embarrassing thing in the world, and then they become cool again. That's how the world works. I understand that Tramp stamp tattoos are cool again.
It's good news for my wife.
Good news for your wife?
She's got a tramp stamp.
I've always wanted one. I think they're cute.
Yeah, I always liked them.
Yeah, they got kind of unfair rap, and it's all because I think Wedding Crashers, where they made that joke where they said, "Oh, a tramp stamp might as well be a bullseye."
That you think that did it?
Yeah, I think that didn't help things for sure. But
I remember.
that's the joke I always remembered.
I remember the joke. Tramp stamps are back. lower back tattoos. Yeah, I always thought they were kind of sexy.
I don't mind them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Except for one.
Oh, no. What was it?
I got a real good look at it. And it was it was eyes.
Oh.
Like some kind of eyes. It's always the eyes. It was like a doll's eyes. Anyway, that's a line from Jaws. It wasn't really a doll's eyes. But I got a real good look at this tramp stamp a handful of times. And I never even asked what it was, but it appeared to be a set of eyes. And they were kind of creepy, and it was kind of unnerving.
Then there's, what was the idea? Like there's a mouth below there, or?
I don't think so. Josh, I never was really able to figure out what I was looking at, but it appeared to be a set of eyes. And I never, like I said, I never asked. I didn't care, but it just was kind of creepy looking.
Social anxiety Jesus said his ex had a tramp stamp. It was her daughter's name. Awkward,
Whoa.
to say the least.
Oh.
That's really weird. Don't do that. That's really weird.
Jesus.
What?
The
Did you ever see the picture floating around where a lady supposedly had a tramp stamp that said "Do not enter"? No. I wonder if that was ever, and then an arrow pointing down.
I don't.
Was that real or Photoshop?
I hope that was Photoshop.
So do I.
I wasn't aware of that one.
That'd be one of those ones where if I was the tattoo artist, I'd sit them down and be like, are you sure now? You 100% positive? Happy to take your money, but I want to make sure you're good with this.
I would refuse that, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't so sure if it was a set of eyes or possibly the wings of a butterfly or something like that. But anyway, I'll never figure it out. The young people are embracing the tramp stamp.
That's how it goes, right? Always comes back.
Everything that's old becomes new again.
Yeah.
We're all suckers for nostalgia.
Mid-century modern. That everybody wanted mid-century modern as far as furniture for their homes and whatnot. When people were getting rid of that left and right in the 90s.
Now, Ashley, you're the tattoo lady. You said a minute ago that you always thought they were cute?
Yeah.
Well, you don't have one?
No, not yet.
Well,
Oh, you're planning on getting one?
Yeah, I think I'd get one in the future.
What would you get?
That is maybe just some type of design.
if the baby's hungry, and it's either the baby or your tramp stamp tattoo. Like there's a good deal on tattoos down the road. Which way do you go?
The baby.
Baby?
Yes.
Well, just bottle that stuff. And then somebody else can feed the baby while you're getting your tramp stamp.
Yeah, there you go. I wonder. No, they would probably not. They would probably frown upon that. Get a tattoo while breastfeeding.
But they probably have guidelines against that.
Yeah, I think so.
I wonder if they do. I don't know if you can have a guideline against that. Maybe because there's a procedure happening.
Some tattoo artists are skeptical that they're really going to start dumping tramp stamp tattoos on women like it's the early 2000s again. They're skeptical. They're saying, I don't think this is really going to take off. And that's usually how it plays out. 99 times out of 100, you hear bell bottoms are back, everybody, and then you see one guy on the street. So I understand why the tattoo artists would be skeptical that this is going to really become a thing again. We're really going deep here, Josh. It says here, for many, getting a tramp stamp is more than just a fashion statement. It's a declaration of autonomy and a rejection of outdated societal judgments.
That's how art is, right? People make it so deep on certain things where sometimes, no, that's just a bowl of fruit, bro.
Yeah.
That's all that is. So you say in this article, Dana, good news for Dana's wife. She has one.
She has one. She got it when she was 17. And the length she had to go through to get it is hilarious to me.
Like fake ID type of thing? Or?
No, so get this. So she was 17, and you need to have your parents' approval or something if you're under 18. So her mom went with her and to get the tramp stamp, and she said, yeah, no, I'm her mother. I approve of this. But they have different last names because her and her dad were divorced. Her mom and dad were divorced. So they had different last names. The IDs didn't match up. So they had to go home and get her birth certificate and bring it back to the place to match up the IDs so that she could get a tramp stamp when she was 17.
Oh, my mom would have never.
I love
That's
the dedication.
a lot of work.
I know.
What is it of?
It's just one of those designs like you see all the time. Nothing,
Like a tribal design?
Right, something like that.
Yeah, those were big.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. And it's funny, she regretted it for a while, but now she just embraces it. I think kind of like what the article is saying people are doing now. They say, hey, yeah, know what? I like this. I'm done that people are made fun of it for a while and it became the trendy thing to pick on.
Elementary school custodian Jesus has texted the program. And again, we're always just a setting here. And we're ready to field your text messages at the number 651-989-9393. Elementary school custodian Jesus says, tramp stamps and belly button rings are my biggest weakness.
Belly button rings used to be huge when I was in high school.
Yeah, I've got one of those.
You do?
Yeah.
My wife had one for a while.
Actually, I've talked about it multiple times before about how I have a weird thing with belly buttons. They just make me uncomfortable, especially like anything going near mine for the most part. And so I got it pierced to block that hole because I thought that would help. Like things wouldn't be able to get in there. But I had to take it out last week and I couldn't even look at my stomach. I was so close to vomiting, and I'm going to have to keep taking it out over and over again because I put it back in right away. I was like, nope, I can't look at it. It looks weird. Even though I have a completely normal belly button, it makes me completely nauseated.
Is it out now?
No, I put it back in.
Does it seem weird? I mean, because you're showing at this point.
Yes. So the hole is stretching. It's stretching to the right and left. And it's starting to worry me. But I've heard that you could get certain spacers or whatever it is to so you don't have to take it out. So maybe I'll go that route.
You hate belly buttons.
Oh my gosh, so much, Dana, so much.
Bug Eye Wagon Jesus, no, my mom does not have a tramp stamp that says, come in, we're open. All right?
Wow.
She's a 70-some-year-old woman.
Oh,
That question is silly.
it's got hours. Come on in, we're open 9 to 7.
And there's just like a little ticket taker right next to it, like you're at the DMV.
Yeah. Josh, why don't you and I go get a mic tramp stamp?
Like a microphone?
Mike Tramp.
Oh, my God. Excellent. Yeah.
Let's get Mike Tramp's image right above our ass
Sure.
cracks.
I'd
Lead
be
singer
cool with
of
that.
White Lion,
One of the best-looking men of all time.
cover of Radar Love. A Mike Tramp stamp. What if that tattoo is a little wet, Josh? What kind of...
Would it be
Oh,
a damp
no.
stamp?
That's a damp stamp.
Here we go.
What if you're, 7 years old running around the woods with your friends?
Oh, that's a camp stamp.
That's a camp stamp. Let's see, how much time do we have left for this? We got about 3 minutes.
What if it illuminated a room when you pull...
It's a lamp stamp.
Yeah, that's a lamp stamp.
That's right.
What if it was used to get a wheelchair into a building?
Jesus.
That is a ramp stamp.
Yeah.
What if the tattoo is kind of... See, I'm not even 100% sure I know what this means, but I'm going to try my best. What if it's kind of dark and creepy and dark cider and
Dark and creepy.
and you wear a lot of black and I'm trying to be subtle without giving it completely away. Dark goth.
Goth is the word I was thinking of.
Yeah, see, again, I could try to be more
Vamp
obvious.
stamp?
That's a vamp stamp.
Nice.
Right?
I never get one.
That's awesome. I wouldn't have got that.
Tell me if I was making sense. I mean, is that what a vamp is? Like, is that like another word for a goth?
Yeah, it's like vampire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it you call goth people vamps?
No, I thought of what vampires usually look like, and yeah, they're usually goth, right?
I don't
That's
know.
What if it was something? This is great. This is a text. What if it was something that you stuck on an envelope to send mail? You send correspondence through the U.S. Postal Service.
It's a stamp, and that we can't do that. That one doesn't count.
What if it was me after I had the bad idea of trying to shoot baskets and run up and down the court the other day?
I have no idea.
My legs were a little...
Oh, a cramp stamp?
Cramp stamp,
Oh.
yeah. I had a cramp stamp the other day.
Oh, yeah, it's a cramp stamp.
You were playing basketball?
There's a hoop by my house, actually. I like to go out there and get some shots up every once and again, and I always regret it 20 minutes afterwards.
I know that hoop.
Yeah,
That's
you do.
Sketchy.
It is. It's in the sketchy part of town.
Oh, yeah, it's a cramp stamp. That's how we play that game. Look, we better get going again. Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder will be swinging by at 7:30, and that's when we'll go buck wild with the hockey club and the basketball and the Twins won last night, all that stuff. You want to give us one more, Josh?
I came up with one, but I'm trying to phrase it right.
Yeah.
What if it's like a mischievous person?
Scamp.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, wow.
I was going to say an old-fashioned saying. My grandma used to call people scamps.
Stamp is the correct answer there. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back with the stupid news here in a few minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Idly ho, neighborinos.
93X.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
Bravo TV star Lala Kent holds nothing back on the Give Them Lala podcast.
It's very a lot.
You want the headline.
Here is my interview with Vicky Gunvalson. Who did the biggest number on you?
I'm not friends with Tamara anymore, which is fine.
Do you feel like you guys can repair?
No.
Stick to what you know.
Iconic.
Absolutely fantastic. It is like the Super Bowl every episode.
Give Them Lala.
Unhinged, but also amazing TV.
Get ready.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, what a hell of a deal this is. A hell of a deal. A family in what they call here upstate New York has had to endure something pretty unique. Now, this all started a couple years ago. It's a lot to keep up with. So try and follow as best you can on this tired Wednesday morning. First off, these folks had a family member up and go missing. Shanice is the name of the gal that disappeared. And that blows, right?
That'd be terrifying.
Devastating. Shanice went missing. Then a long stretch of time goes by, and the family gets a telephone call from the police telling them, oh, damn, the decomposed body of Shanice has been found.
Reading the autopsy was traumatic. It's one thing to hear it, you know what I'm saying? But then it's another thing to actually read it, and then her name is attached to it, so we thinking this is how she died.
That would be Shanice's sister, Shanita, commenting there. They get a telephone call telling them the decomposed body of Shanice has been found. She's a goner. It's terrible. From bad to worse, right? Apparently, nobody from the family ever actually saw Shanice's decomposed carcass. I believe the cops told them, trust us, you don't want to see this. All right? Her cremated remains were sent off to Shanice's family. They did what most families would do. They held a memorial service. Then they went ahead and mixed Shanice's remains in with the ashes of her deceased mother, and they attempted to get on with their lives. But a few months later, again, Shanice's sister, a gal by the name of Shanita, got a text from an unknown person living in Detroit. And that message said, hi, your sister is not dead. She just volunteered at my event today. And the text included a picture of effing Shanice. And there she was, volunteering somewheres.
Well, that was nice of her.
Of course, Shanita Shanited her pants when receiving this information. Next thing you know, a massive investigation is underway. A DNA test was done on the jar of remains that the family thought was filled with Shanice. It, in fact, was not. So now they're all wondering, who the hell is in that jar? Why did the cops tell us it was Shanice that they found dead and decomposed in the first place? The local medical examiner has grabbed up the jar of anonymous ashes to try and find out who the hell is in there. I just hope it's not me. Shanita is in the process of hiring a lawyer because they feel like they've been double-boned in the can by all of this.
She need a lawyer at this point, and maybe a therapist. Can you imagine finding out that information, and especially when they're telling you those gross details?
Yeah.
Now, what happens when, if God forbid, she really does die? I mean, you already used up all your grief. I mean,
I only get one. You only get one.
Yeah, I don't remember if I told this on the air or not. I know I told you guys I was at an event. Someone said, hey, can you please say hello for me and give them an enthusiastic greeting? And I said, of course I can. And I gave them a wonderful, that sounded braggadocious. I didn't mean it like that. But I put my best effort out there to really make them feel welcome and give them a great greeting. And then I find out afterwards it was the wrong people. Oh. The absolute wrong people.
It's not easy to get that back and start that over
Right,
again.
And that's what I told them. I said, I'm going to do my best if the right people show up, but that might have been the one for the night. I don't know if I could do that quite again.
I understand completely.
And the next time around, God forbid if she passes, I would probably want to take a look just to make sure.
Yeah.
Double check.
It's a very good point. We've already used up all of our grief at your first funeral.
Yeah, you should have seen it. I mean, we were very sad.
Devastated. Dropped most of us to a knee. So, to add to all this over-the-top madness, the family has yet to reunite with Shanice. They haven't seen her in forever. They thought she was dead. They find out she's alive and for some reason living in Detroit. But despite all that, they still haven't been able to get her on the friggin' telephone. They can't reach this lady. It's none of my business, but I think this family has some problems.
Yeah, you're right.
Shanita, the sister, said, we can't force her to talk to us, but she is alive and well. So it's not my box. What is in the box? F me running. Not my business, but this family obviously has some issues.
Yeah, she wants to disappear. That's for sure. She looks very happy in the pictures they posted.
She looked pumped.
Yeah, looks like she's a fun person.
Listeners want to know if the Shanita character, if her last name is Dick. No. No, I can't remember what it is, but it's not Dick.
Be a lot cooler if it was.
Now that you mentioned, Josh, that was, like I said, a very interesting point. What happens when Shanice dies for real? We've already used up all of our real grief. It reminds me of a funeral I went to a number of years ago with my dad. My dad and I were there to mourn the death of a very, very old person. Very, very old person. And I don't mean for my dad and I to come off terribly judgmental here. Everyone grieves differently, right? You hear that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is the truth. It's the truth. Everyone grieves differently. But my dad and I are sitting in the church, and again, this was a very, very old person that lived a very, very long life and was kind of circling the drain for quite a few years before they finally passed, right? It was nothing sudden. This person lived a damn full life. And so, as a lot of you probably know, when you go to a funeral service like that, it really truly is a celebration of life. It's a lot of laughing and sharing stories. There isn't a lot of, deep, deep pain because of the individual living such a complete full life. So my dad and I are in the church, and the music begins. And we knew this old dead person very well. We knew a lot of their family, too. And someone walks into the church and just, oh, God, no, oh, God, no, no, that kind of a thing, right? And most of us, including my dad and I, are just stunned by this, right? because of everything I just got done telling you about the dead person. My dad couldn't help himself. He turns to me and he goes, Jesus Christ, it's not like she died in a car wreck.
Oh, my God.
Is there a chance? I've seen this before where someone might be trying to make that a little bit about themselves.
Oh, 100%.
Garnering as much attention as they can. You know, they're the saddest person in the room.
Those are the worst.
By the way, there's an update from the Brotherhood or Sisterhood. They don't say here. Obviously, we all know it wasn't Shanice. Turns out it was Shanephew.
Shut up.
It wasn't Shanice, it was Shanephew.
Shanephew.
That's who the cremated remains
The cremated
are.
remains were that of Shanephew.
Yes, Shanephew.
Okay.
Stanky boy Jesus just said he turned on the radio and the first thing he heard was you screaming, Nick.
That'll wake you up.
I love when that happens.
CFH bass player Jesus said that he'd take death over living in Detroit. He'd rather be dead than caught in Detroit.
All right. Yeah, Josh, there always is one or two people, unfortunately, when someone passes, there's damn near always one or two people who want to make sure that you know that this is their own personal tragedy.
Yeah.
Yep.
You think you're sad? Look at me.
Without fail, every single time.
It sucks, but it's true. It's true. All right. These next gals you're about to learn about, if that's the proper way to say that. These next gals are either the spawn of Satan himself or the next great comedy act waiting to be discovered. A television interview with identical twin sisters in Australia is all over that godless social media. And it's effing bizarre. Now, the reason these two twin sisters were interviewed was because of a serious incident, something about a dangerous prick crashing cars and pulling a gun on folks over there in Australia. The two gals and their mama were at the scene of the crime. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that we get, I think, Josh, we need to get the men in black to apprehend these two gals and find out what exact purpose they have here on our planet. These ladies are twin sisters in their 50s. They go by the names of Bridget and Paula Powers. And because they're identical twins, they more or less speak in unison.
And one guy, he was up there with our mum. He went up there and he was coming back down towards us. And he goes, run, he's got a gun. And our heart started to pound. And I said, oh, Mum, where's Mum? And poor Mum was stuck up there. But apparently our brave Mum, she goes, are you all right? Because he had all blood all over his face. And he goes, I'll shoot you. She goes, hey, I'm here to help.
I had to watch that whole video, to cut it up. By the end of it, I was going insane.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
That must have taken a mental toll
Oh,
on you.
geez. Even that, I thought, I had to put enough in there to drive people crazy, but just enough. That was really tough to watch.
That's the audio of these two twin sisters, Bridget and Paula Powers, telling their story to the local television news about this madman on the run with a gun or whatever happened. And they say the same words at the exact same time. And I've never seen anything quite like that.
You and your brother never pulled that off?
No. We're not identical. And even if we were, let's say we did find ourselves doing that when we got together, I think we would stay as far apart as possible.
Yeah, one of you need to be taken care of in that situation.
One of us would kill the other. Yes. So we would never. It turns out these two gals are already internet famous, especially in Australia. Someone by the name of Piers Morgan interviewed them on a television show called Good Morning Britain in the year 2016. And they told him they don't rehearse their delivery. It's something they do involuntarily because they've been so close their whole lives.
So disturbing.
So we finally know what happened to the twin sisters from The Effin' Shining.
That's what texters are saying. Am I listening to a clip of The Shining? We're also on Kimmel.
You've probably seen this. The reason this video is so popular has nothing to do with the carjacking and everything to do with the witnesses they interviewed. Joining us now from Queensland, Australia, Bridget and Paula Powers. Hello, Bridget and Paula. You really are twins. How is your mother?
Our mum is doing great.
Well, you've caused quite a commotion with this video. When did you become aware that you had delighted the globe?
Well, when we heard from your show.
Hey, this seems like a comedy bit, but I know it's not. Do you speak in tandem on purpose?
No. This is us. We know that we annoy a lot of people out there, but you know what? If they can't stand hearing us talk how we do, they can just simply turn off the TV.
All right. I will.
They've practiced this, right?
Come on.
They had to practice this
I mean, some of it, any of us could do. I mean, you could hear that they know where the sentence is going. They've got a rhythm. They know each other very well. You can do that not just with a twin. No, because after a while, you work with somebody long enough, you can finish
their sentences.
I was going to say sandwiches, but yeah, sentences.
You think it's an act? You think it's all a setup? Like I said, they're either the spawn of Satan or the next great comedy act. So you think it might be a bit? They practice this?
They do, of course.
The Kimmel thing obviously was scripted, I think. But on the street part, that would have been tougher to pull off in the moment.
Come play with us, Danny.
Some of it is weird, right? It is almost simultaneous, but other stuff you can tell. I've worked with somebody long enough or know somebody long enough, you know their rhythms. And, you finish people's sentences.
I'm bad at that.
You're getting better at it.
Thank you.
So, you could do something like this, too. East Winstead, Jesus said, Christ, I was trying to go to sleep this morning, but those twins have shaken me right out of bed. It is disturbing.
And if you watch the video, they're dressed exactly alike. Their hair is styled exactly alike. Come play with us, Danny.
Thank you. Ask me about CrossFit, Jesus. How about one of them just not talk? Yes.
Why didn't I think of that? You're right. They're talking to one of the people. The other one doesn't need to chime in.
All right.
Great point.
You're probably right, Josh. It's probably an act, but I do now and again hear things about identical twins. And some of the odd, what's this stuff, Josh?
Like ESP?
Yeah, right. ESP type communications. I've heard stories, that's all. I wish I could remember the details. But something about twins.
Or you'll maybe a twin gets in a car accident and the other twin has a feeling something's not right.
Yeah, the other one falls out of bed at the exact same time and they don't know why. Who
that's
knows?
Scary. I don't like that.
I'm not fat. I'm aerodynamic. Jesus said, these two have ruined all the twin fantasies I've ever had.
First threesome ever. They wouldn't shut up.
They have. That's creepy. Dad? Yes? Do you like this hotel? Yes, I do. I love it. Don't you? I guess so. Good. I want you to like it here. I wish we could stay here forever and ever and ever. One of my favorite scenes from The Shining when Jack Nicholson has Danny on his knee alone in his room and they're talking about whether or not they like it here. What are you doing down here? Well, I just wanted to talk to you. Okay, let's talk. What do you want to talk about? I really can't remember. You can't remember? Maybe it was about Danny. Huh? Maybe it was about him. I think we should discuss what should be done with him. All right, I got to let it go. You know how I get, Josh? When I get dialed in, sometimes I can't let it go.
Yeah, you go for it.
Yeah.
You jump in with both feet.
I know. I apologize. It's a weird morning. None of us got any sleep last night. Friggin' ball games. Okay. Derelicts are still running wild down there in the worst state ever. Here's another one of those jag-offs that lacks the attention he needs, so he makes the cops chase him down the highway. Because at least then, someone notices him, right?
Yeah.
I think that is just my own theory, Josh. I think that a lot of high-speed chases are because the bad guy just needs someone to notice him.
Especially nowadays, right? Or they want their social media followers.
Oh, sure. I didn't even consider that. But the focus is finally all on me. Anyway.
Certainly there's folks that just want to get away, but they're probably in the minority now at this point.
Yeah. This past Saturday afternoon, someone or another called the police to report that a little sawed-off puke bag had stolen several alcoholic beverages from a store, and then he walked smooth out. When the cops showed up onto the scene, they spotted Dinkus right away. Josh, he was driving in circles around the parking lot in his minivan.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
Yeah, go ahead. This is America.
Dinkus Jagoff was identified as a 39-year-old by the name of Kurt Smith or something. It doesn't matter. Before he sped away, he offered the cops one of the drinks he had just snatched from the store.
Stop. I give you a drink, that's it. Drinking some, looked like a beer or something. He just drove by.
Oh, that's nice of him.
There's the body cam audio right there. The cops are trying to get him to stop. He's doing circles in his minivan. And he says, I was just trying to give you a drink, that's all. And then he hits the accelerator. So the policeman officers are forced to chase this friggin' lowlife down the road for a while. The police use spike strips to flatten all 4 of the tires on his weak-ass minivan. Dude tried to ram into a couple of cop cars. He missed. He was able to intentionally crash into a couple of other random vehicles on the highway. And I'm sure those folks were thinking, thanks for dragging me into your miserable friggin' life. The very satisfying ending to this chase video is when the Jagoff, Smith, he gets out of his stupid minivan, and the cop squared him up right in the areolas with a taser. He fell forward and rang his fat head off the asphalt.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Put your hands behind your back!
A lot of stupid right now. You guys had fun, all right?
I love that part.
Wasn't it fun, though, guys?
Yeah, hey, we all had a good time, huh?
In the video there, you heard it. Smith can be heard asking one of the cops, what am I under arrest for? I'm assuming he was joking with that question. The cop replied with, a lot of stupid shh. In the end, as he was being cuffed and tossed into a police cruiser, the dude smiled at the cops and said, you guys had fun, though, right?
It's all about the friends they made along the way.
And personally, I'm not buying that smile he had on his face like he's all cool with this and doesn't care. I guarantee this guy cried like a child all the way to the police station.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's when reality set in, and that was that. He was hiding a lot with that smile.
Definitely.
And I bet the fun part for the cops was watching him fall on his face from the tasing.
That was beautiful.
That's an attitude changer.
That was friggin' beautiful. He just, like a tree in the woods, just straight forward. Forehead right on the, that was great. All right, this is the second time in our Stupid News report this week that we featured grown adults running around town dressed like children on Halloween in a place called Perth, Australia. Isn't that where those evil twins live? Is that also Australia earlier?
Yep.
Yep.
This is Perth, Australia. Some dork dressed in a Spider-Man costume got himself arrested for dangling off a bridge, hanging by some type of a harness, just hanging above traffic as it drove by. I guess that's how this guy gets a boner or something.
Spider-Man! Spider-Man!
That's something that pops into my head very frequently.
That song?
Yeah.
Oh, this one gets me.
Spider Pig does whatever a Spider Pig does.
Old Homer Simpson there.
Best movie ever.
But this dude, again, a grown man in a Spider-Man suit, he sets up some kind of harness and he's hanging above traffic on a bridge. But he just hung there. He's like playing with his cell phone, looking like a complete jackhole.
That's not what Spider-Man does.
You're right.
He just hung there. Total pain in the ass. The cops had to up and close the freeway to get this supposedly fully grown man down from the bridge. All for stupid-ass social media, I'm sure. I say next time, just leave the prick up there for a couple of days. You wanted the attention, you got it. Right, Josh?
Yeah, why not?
Have fun peeing in your little Spider-Man get-up for a couple of days. This is where you wanted to be. We'll let you stay there for a couple of days. We're not going to help you out.
Throw some Cheetos at him or something along the way. He could become a tourist destination.
All right. We'll close things out. Again, with the social media stuff. This is so tiring. Someone ended up swinging themselves back and forth on a crane cable a day or two ago in Austin, Texas. Way the hell up in the air. I don't know how many stories this guy was up, but it was certainly enough to kill him dead for sure. Do we have the video up on our website?
Yes, we do.
A moron holding a selfie stick at the very end of a long crane cable, and he's swinging back and forth, and, now he's going to be famous for 8 minutes.
That does seem fun without, like, the threat of death. Maybe if there was a net underneath me.
That looked terrifying.
I mean, if the crane lowers me down to 6 feet off the ground, that looks like fun. But this guy was thousands of miles in the air. They had to evacuate the area, right? This is the part where it's not fun anymore. They had to evacuate the area, people just trying to go about their daily business, just in case this clown fell off and landed on somebody's car or whatever. The person willing to die a terrible death for internet recognition has not yet been identified. Nobody's sure how the hell he got up there. It's what they call here, Josh, an ongoing investigation.
Wonder how much trouble you get for something like that. I bet it's some serious trouble.
Yeah.
But they don't mess around.
I don't know what the hell's going on anymore.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Lakers are going to win it by 9 and tie this best-of-7 series at 1-1.
If Minnesota had played any intensity the first half, they outplayed the Lakers in the second half.
Yes, they did.
But, man, that offense they were running was so boring. They just went at Rudy Gobert every time, and they had no body movement, had no ball movement.
Charles Barkley, yeah, he's right. Had the Timberwolves had anything organized, had anything cooking at all in the first quarter, they likely would have won last night's ball game. But they did not. They were not at their best. Not in the first quarter for sure. And the Lakers got a little serious about this. And the end result was a 9-point win for L.A. and an even series. We'll get into that when Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder swing by in a half hour. Any insomniac could have told you right away that the Pigs squared up their series with that Vegas club last night. They got the win. What do they call it? 5-2?
Pretty good.
This is what happens when the game doesn't end until 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but they got the win last night. Game 3 will be in town here tomorrow night. It wasn't terribly exciting at Target Field last night up until the final out of the ball game. But the Twins were able to beat the Chicago White Sox by a couple of runs. Big moment at the end of the ball game. Byron Buxton with a great catch in center field. We can get deep into all of this nonsense in about a half hour when Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder stop by. Until then, don't go anywhere. Josh and his news report is coming up next.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Nice.
93X.
Nice.
Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
It's part sports.
We have football on the brain.
Part pop culture.
Dennis Leary. True or false? You refuse to wear a glove with Mickey Mantle's signature on it for the movie The Sandlot.
The Red Sox blood, the Bruins blood, they run deep.
And in the best celebrity interviews.
Robert De Niro here on The Rich Eisen Show. How are you, sir?
Just got over a 24-hour virus.
The antidote is to appear on The Rich Eisen Show.
There you go. I would have just done it earlier.
And you've got The Rich Eisen Show podcast.
There is a medicinal quality to appearing on this program.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
It's very serious. When we think about public safety in a hospital setting or a school setting, that's first and foremost that we make sure that everyone's safe. It's unfortunate this day and age that we see this from time to time, but our officers, our fire department, our public safety staff train for this type of thing, and so this is why and how you see the response that you do.
Well, this was scary for a bit yesterday. Fairview Southdale Hospital in Edina was thrown into lockdown for about an hour after a report of a gunman inside the building. The 911 call came in just before 3 p.m., prompting an immediate response from police. Officers swept the hospital and began investigating what unfolded as a volatile domestic incident, possibly a case of domestic assault, inside one of the patient rooms. During the confrontation, a handgun was allegedly brandished, but thankfully no shots were fired. As authorities secured the hospital and pieced together what happened, they discovered the suspect had fled the scene. Short time later, they located and arrested a 39-year-old man who's now facing potential charges of second-degree assault.
You got to be pretty crazy to try to kill someone at the hospital.
Yeah, it sounds like it was pretty freaky what was going on there, and luckily nobody was seriously hurt. A 31-year-old woman led officers on an erratic, eventful, and evil multi-county chase in Kentucky. Nina DeVelez, which sounds like a Bond villain, faces charges of evading police, criminal trespass, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct. She had a day. Indiana State Police said just before 9 a.m. Monday, 911 got a call about a reckless driver. A police officer tried to stop the car, but DeVelez had other plans. The speed demon took off, only coming to a stop after crashing into a ditch, which might have been the end of it, except she emerged from the car wielding a sword and wearing a motorcycle helmet for some reason.
This is too crazy to be real. He's got a sword.
After approaching the officer with the sword, she quickly learned you never bring a sword to a gunfight because the officer shot her, essentially ending round one.
At that point, a Chandler police officer fired his weapon. We know that the suspect was at least shot one time.
Round two, however, was just about to start. Despite being shot in the chest, she somehow managed to steal the officer's patrol vehicle and take off again, bleeding, helmeted, and now behind the wheel of a police car. Authorities lost track of the cruiser until another officer spotted it and attempted another traffic stop. She reportedly floored it, reaching speeds of over 120 miles an hour. The pursuit ended when the stolen police vehicle crashed into an open field. She made a run for it on foot this time, but was tased and taken into custody, bleeding heavily from a gunshot wound to the chest, still alive and presumably still helmeted.
There's still a lot of questions that need to be answered as far as what led to all of this, but for now, I just wanted to share with the public that there is no danger. The suspect is in custody.
This isn't the woman's first run-in with the law. She's already facing an attempted murder case in Lawrence County, Indiana, where she was charged in November with 7 felonies, including attempted murder, battery, and criminal confinement. Her next court appearance in that case is scheduled for May 19th.
Man, stealing a cop car after you get shot, what a gamer. You know, she's good. Just don't quit in her. No, high motor.
She had a sword and a motorcycle helmet. Maybe she's a Kill Bill fan.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with her, but she's got a fun mugshot, which
Yeah.
you can see on 93x.com.
Foxy lady?
Nope.
What do you mean, nope?
There's somebody for everyone, Nick. Somebody for everyone.
I understand.
The cop whose car was stolen, I don't know, I think I might shoot myself in the leg or something like that.
I'm surprised she got around to that. She had already been shot?
She was shot in the chest, yeah.
I feel so silly.
I would feel, if I were any of the cops on that scene, I would feel a little silly about, well, we shot her and she still stole one of our cars?
Especially the one whose car was stolen.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something from Reno 911.
Yeah, that scene, it seems like it'd be in a comedy. You're right. It's ridiculous. Neither snow nor rain nor vodka apparently keeps postal worker Caitlin Dyer from her appointed rounds until, of course, the police get involved. Calls started coming in about a USPS truck swerving into oncoming traffic in Melbourne, Florida. The driver was also reportedly tossing plastic cups out the window.
Trucker bombs.
No, it wasn't. When officers caught up with the truck, they saw it make a sudden U-turn and drift in and out of its lane. They believe there was probably alcohol in those cups.
Alcohol bombs.
Once they pulled her over, officer said that Dye looked confused and disoriented. After she didn't pass field sobriety tests, they took her in. She admitted she'd been delivering mail when someone at a house party invited her in for it.
Now we're talking.
What a dream.
Yeah, so she said, why not? She said she was drinking shots of vodka before getting back behind the wheel. When asked why she was all over the road, she told officers she'd actually fallen asleep while driving.
A witness told police that they saw Dye throwing the red cups out of the mail truck.
As for the cups she threw out, she said, no, it was just water. She was trying to rinse her mouth so she wouldn't smell like alcohol, but cops weren't buying it. Witnesses also reported seeing that the mail truck nearly hit several cars while swerving across lanes. Dye was promptly delivered to the Brevard County Jail and charged with DUI.
She gave in to peer pressure, huh?
Yes. Well, what the hell? Why not?
Yeah.
Let's have some fun.
I don't know what your guy's mailman, but I definitely drink with my mail guy. He's cool. He's just got a cool vibe to him. He's always quick with a joke. He's just a sharp guy.
I stay as far away of him. How do I say that, Josh? I stay as far away from him as possible.
I love my mailman. Do you want anything you'd like to say to my mailman, Dana?
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He got me a little wedding gift.
Yes, he did. Mm-hmm. He's a heck of a guy.
Great guy.
Famous last words. My mailman is a cool guy.
You'd love ours.
You just wait.
He's a bit famous in my neighborhood. All the kids love him, too. A quiet Monday evening in Robbinsdale got abruptly louder when a 13-year-old boy crashed an SUV into someone's home, sending a resident to the hospital. Police were called just before 6 p.m. after reports of a vehicle slamming into a house. When they arrived, they found the front third, that is, of an SUV lodged inside the home. That's not supposed to happen.
That's old enough to know better.
2 people were inside at the time, one of them injured when the impact pushed in a wall. Thankfully, their injuries were not life-threatening. The other resident escaped unharmed. Witnesses pointed to a 13-year-old boy as the driver. According to police, a woman in the passenger seat, believed to be a family member, admitted she let him drive. She reportedly allowed him to cruise around the neighborhood and make a trip to the store. But on the way back, the teen confused the gas pedal for the brake, and instead of slowing down, he plowed right into those poor folks' home. Police haven't said whether any arrests have been made as the investigation continues.
I thought maybe he had a hot older girlfriend or something.
Well, they might have been dating. I mean, some people don't get stopped at their relative connection there. It's possible. I'm going to guess probably not, but I don't want to kill your fantasy.
Anything's possible.
Authorities in Kentucky say a 32-year-old father orchestrated a fun family felony at a local Walmart Saturday. That's where dad loads the loot, then bravely makes his 13-year-old shoplift it. Didn't go as planned.
Are they dating?
They didn't say one way or the other. I'm going to guess if they are, it's going to be an estranged relationship right now because what dad did afterwards wasn't cool. Well, what he did the whole time wasn't cool.
So dad... What's his move again? Dad
he loads up the cart and says, hey, 13-year-old son, just take this cart, go right by the registers, and walk out.
Just get the hell out of here, right.
The son was caught carting. That was so close.
That was scary.
My hand leapt to the dump button.
Did it really?
Yeah.
The con. Now, your hand didn't go anywhere.
No, I knew he had it this time.
Yeah. The son was caught. See, that's the problem. Swapped those two. Carting the contraband right past the checkout lanes when a store security officer stopped the boy. When questioned, the teen told police his father told him to walk out with the loaded cart and then abandon him there.
Police say he put items in a shopping cart, left the store, and told his son to walk out alone without paying.
Does she sound bored with her job? Sounds like she just didn't want to that day.
A little bit.
Police soon found the mastermind behind the family fraud, Jonathan Carton, who was loitering nearby. Police said the stepmom admitted she was waiting outside the store, but she claimed that her husband told her to leave the area, so she drove off to the motel where the family was staying. Even after learning the teen had been caught, neither adult checked on him or even called police. At no time did the dad or stepmother contact law enforcement in regards to the son, officers noted in their report. So far, police haven't said whether the boy or the stepmom will face any charges. Dad, however, is facing several.
Not your traditional setup there, Josh.
No, not at all. Oh, man, that poor kid.
The whole thing sounds shady from start to finish.
A substitute teacher in Florida is facing serious charges after authorities say she tried to set up a fight between students who were already at odds. The curtain was pulled back on this educational train wreck during a recent parent-teacher conference at LaBelle Middle School. That's where a concerned parent showed the school resource officer a video from the previous day. that captured a heated classroom moment under the watch of 20-year-old substitute Tayasia Holmes. In the video, Holmes can be seen holding back one student while another hurls taunts. Instead of de-escalating the situation, she egged them on. Until moments later, the students wrestled and a desk went flying.
We were really kind of taken back by the behavior of what we saw and what we heard. At one point, she tells the students that they need to take it outside or take it off the school campus and take it to the park. You don't encourage children to fight.
What a con.
Take it to the park.
According to deputies, Holmes didn't just fail to prevent the fight, she actually helped orchestrate it. Investigators say she conspired with the students and created an opportunity for the altercation to happen. Yeah, take it to the park. I haven't heard that one.
She's taking bets.
The school district superintendent said Holmes has been fired and placed on the district's do not hire list. And they said the district is embarrassed by what happened.
One little blemish like this is painful to us, and so we don't like it. But it happened, and we're going to deal with it, and we're going to make sure we get better from it, and we're going to move forward.
Holmes is now facing 2 counts of child neglect and 8 counts of contributing to the delinquency of a minor.
Did you guys ever have any teachers that were a little bit too involved in the students' lives?
Well, I don't know exactly what you mean.
We did, for sure.
We had one that was wanted to be buddies with first name basis and buddies.
I specifically remember, and I didn't realize how weird it was until the older I got. In middle school, I was dating this boy. It was a really serious relationship. And we broke up.
They all are in middle school. All of them are in
Very
middle school.
dramatic.
The one that got away.
Yep. And we broke up, and my English teacher took the time to sit both of us down in the classroom during lunch or free hour or whatever it was, and tried to convince us to get back together. She was playing a relationship therapist, and that is just so weird looking back. Maybe she shouldn't have been a teacher.
She just cared.
Yeah. I never experienced anything like that. How old were these kids again, Josh, who were tuning each other up at the demand of their substitute teacher?
I don't have exact ages.
Well, give me a neighborhood. There were grade school kids, junior high kids.
It's a middle school.
Middle school. Okay. If your middle school had some kind of a fight tournament when you were there, Cubby, how do you think you would have fared?
Oh, if I was a part of it?
Yeah.
Well, I'd do pretty well because I'd be on the ground.
Oh.
You're not going to get a lot of punches in. And back in my day, we didn't gang up on the person on the ground. Once they were on the ground, that was it. It's wow, that guy's he's crying, he's shaking.
Fetal position.
Yeah, we're going to leave him alone.
Asking for his mom.
Yeah, nowadays, you're still not very safe in that position.
Maybe just the Intercontinental belt or something?
Yeah, I don't think I'd fare too well.
All right.
Maybe the European Championship.
There's a devious and dangerous mystery unfolding on Cape Cod. Hundreds of nails were deliberately embedded point up into roadways, and no one knows who's behind it.
Oh, a friend of mine did that when we were kids up in Canada.
Police say at least 478 nails were pulled from 4 different roads early Friday morning. The nails were carefully pressed headfirst into fresh tar patches, their points sticking straight up like tiny sharp traps just waiting to shred tires. These spikes were found about 2 a.m. by an officer on patrol who spotted them scattered across sidewalks, up driveways, and even tucked beneath the wheels of parked cars. This person meant business. I've heard a mailbox is getting smashed, but never nails left on the road, said 63-year-old neighbor Kathy Hartford, who was jolted awake at 2:30 a.m. by a knock from police warning her about the metal minefield outside her door.
And they told me they saw nails in my driveway and up the street and around, surrounding my car.
Police rushed to remove the nails and sweep them up, while 71-year-old neighbor Rick Murphy grabbed a large magnet and joined the effort, scanning the grass near the street to catch any nails that may have been missed, and he said he's glad nothing bad happened.
It could have created an awful accident, a blowout, car goes off the road, hits a tree or a pole.
As investigators try and piece together who's responsible, theories are already flying around social media. My money's on the local tire shop, one Facebook user joked. Just joking. Probably just bored kids with nothing better to do, commented another. Police are asking anyone with home security footage to help them bring the hammer of justice down on who's ever responsible for the nails.
Well, keep an eye on whatever kid pulled this bit, because the friend of mine who did that same routine ended up going completely nuts, and he's now been incarcerated for about 25 years. We were up in Canada on a fishing trip at a resort, which included a nice beach out front of the resort. And so my brother and I and this friend of ours were hanging out on the beach, and here come some Canadian kids on mini bikes Kind of like that one of the opening scenes from The Karate Kid, Josh.
Oh,
the
cool.
original movie, where here come the Canadian teenage kids on their mini bikes, and they stopped. We were like 12 or 13. And my buddy did not like the attitude on these Canadian kids. So when the Canadian kids rode their mini bikes away, this buddy of mine spent all afternoon long pounding nails into a 2x4, and then he hid it under a little patch of water where the Canadian kids rode their mini bikes, and then we sat in the woods, hidden, so we could watch them ride their bikes by again and pop all their tires.
Did it happen?
Yeah.
But that was pretty satisfying.
I like that.
I was a little scared of the whole thing because I didn't think the Canadian kids deserved that, but my buddy did because he was insane. So he popped all of their tires. Fast forward, 10 or so years later, he was thrown into prison, and he's been there ever since.
Oh.
Not related to that incident.
You guys,
I would hope not.
You guys stay in
He
touch?
got away with that.
They're not prison pen pals, I don't think. No conjugal visits, nothing like that.
Yeah, he made my brother and I sit there and hide in the woods and watch this happen. Okay, guys, just wait. They're coming by any minute now.
There was a church by a buddy at the end of the block where a buddy lived, and there was kids like for a Bible school in the summer. They'd have a camp basically pretty much every day, and he set up between a tree and a pole a fishing line because they would bike or walk around the block and just watch kids get knocked over. He'd have a trip line, or he'd put one at like neck height.
Neck height.
And he used to, these are like...
You're going to kill somebody.
And he's a very religious guy. He was raised that way. He's just taking out these church kids.
Did he end up being a derelict for life?
No, he's nothing like that.
How about this bit, Josh, where you stand on one side of a road, I stand on the other, and we just position our bodies as if we're holding a line.
Oh, I've seen
done that move.
Like, the fake rope or something.
Or like you're pulling a rope. But we're not holding anything, and cars will slow. All of this is dangerous and stupid. But you pretend like you're holding something, and cars will slow down and look at you and go, what are you guys doing?
I never did that. I was always so afraid of somebody getting out of the car and just beating my ass.
Oh, that's kind of what you wanted.
You should be. You should be afraid of such a thing because people will beat your ass.
It's different now, but back then you kind of wanted to get chased.
Yeah.
The nails in the road thing would freak me out because my wife and I just watched this show about serial killers, and in one of the episodes, that's what this guy would do.
That's what I was thinking, Josh, is that I would not get out of my vehicle because I would assume somebody is waiting in the bushes to kill me.
Yeah, this friend of mine was wired wrong from the get-go.
Yeah, it sounds that way.
Yeah.
An 84-year-old West Virginia man took a rather dramatic dive from Divinity Friday when he fell from a replica cross during a live Easter crucifixion reenactment. 84.
He's up there.
What?
He's like, hey, look, I'm Jesus.
Playing the role of Jesus like in a play?
Yes.
84?
Jesus wasn't 84 when he went down.
No, he was a young man.
He was in his 30s somewhere.
The performance, intended to elevate spirits, instead resulted in a very real resurrection of emergency response protocols. The octogenarian, who was participating in an annual Easter event organized by the Vandalia Community Christian Church, plummeted nearly 10 feet from a replica cross set up in a local cemetery.
Yeah.
He suffered broken ribs and other serious injuries and was airlifted to a nearby hospital where he remains in the ICU, but thankfully is expected to survive.
I spoke to a family member of the victim this afternoon who told me that he is doing much better and doctors do not believe his injuries are life-threatening.
It was some scary moments, though. At
Poor
first, they
guy.
thought he was dead. Despite not being a member of the church, the man just volunteered to help with the performance, a tradition the church has upheld for 2 decades. This year's reenactment featured 3 men in costume portraying Jesus and the 2 thieves standing on a small platform attached to wooden crosses. Other participants dressed as Roman centurions and biblical figures like Mary, who looked on solemnly as the crowd gathered. We're here today on this windy but gorgeous day to reenact the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus Christ. We've been doing this for over 20 years. We've been here in years past when it was raining, sleeting, snowing, and freezing, but today is perfect. There are people on the crosses representing Jesus and the 2 thieves, said a church member right before the accident. For Catholics around the world, Good Friday is a sacred day commemorating the crucifixion, often marked by dramatic readings and reenactments. I remember in church they would have the reenactments. I remember being equally scared and enthralled by what was happening
It
there.
sounds slightly scary.
And, of course, this year's Easter season came with a somber note as Pope Francis passed away Monday at the age of 88 following complications from a stroke.
I got a kick out of the fact that he wasn't even a member of the church. They're like, your first time, you got to get up on the cross, man. That's the rules.
I wonder if he was somebody that worked at the cemetery or or what. But I'm sure he thought, well, this is quite an honor, portraying Jesus, and nearly took him out. Cal Penn and John Cena both turned 48 today.
John friggin' Cena.
Both turned 48. Recently admitted he got hair plugs due to bullying from fans of the WWE.
Wrestling fans can be ruthless.
That's what he said.
Hair plugs.
Dead Hauler Jesus texted a shout-out to his son going into surgery this afternoon, having some bones he broke in his arm a couple weeks back set. Good luck to you. Hope you recover soon. And that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
He's existing in this, shadow world of depravity.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
It's a 2-on-1 for Minnesota. Kaprizov in, a shot, saved, rebound, he scores! Kaprizov's first shot caught the pad of Hill and then trickled through the 5-hole, and Minnesota has a 4-0 lead.
Oh, it was just a few hours ago that the Pigs squared up their series with that Vegas club. Just a few hours ago, they wrapped it up. Good morning, Randy Shaver, and good morning, Brad Ryder.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's just wonderful. While we're all here together, we might as well just scissors each other straight into our weekly Minnesota Wild Report, brought to you by Luther Kia of Bloomington. What do you think about that?
Sure.
We might as well just get to it. Thanks in large part to the Russian kid, the Pigs squared up their series with Vegas. Late last night, Kaprizov registered a goal and an assist and an unnecessary empty netter. I was able to watch just a few minutes of this one, of course, because of the brainless start time. But from what I understand, Vegas was a little sloppy with the puck.
Very much so.
Bear Pigs took advantage. Randy Shaver, it's 3-0. Next thing you know, it's 4-0.
Yeah, I was flipping back and forth between the Wild and the Wolves for that first period, and every time I flipped back to the Wild game, the puck was in the Vegas end. They were just swarming the Vegas goalie last night, and turnovers and all sorts of miscues by Vegas, allowing the Wild opportunities, and they just kept coming at him. And before you know it, it was 3-0 into the first period. And then when Kaprizov made it 4-0, you felt like, okay, this thing is, I felt like I can go to bed now. This feels like they're going to win this. And then I stayed through the second period, and it was 4-1, and I still felt pretty good the way they were playing if they were going to hold on. So
that was a nice thing about having a big lead, is that people could go to bed.
Yeah,
if they wanted,
exactly.
If they wanted to.
That was kind of that.
And because you're not going to want to see the comeback if there is a comeback, you're not going to want to watch it anyway. So
speaking of bedtime, normally we'd be talking to Marcus Bellino, but we'd have to be the biggest pricks on planet Earth.
No,
they're still at the strip club in
He
Vegas.
scored two, by
there's
the
no
way.
way he's. Yeah. Well, they might be flying home.
Marcus did get on the board last night. We'd have to be the most self-centered douchebags on planet Earth to drag his carcass out of bed after last night's hockey game.
He said he wants to come on tomorrow, though, so he'll join us tomorrow morning.
That's great.
Markey is available tomorrow. Matt Boldy scored his third goal in 2 games. This was the first win over the Golden Knights this season. Old Phil Gustafsson, goaltender for the Pigs, stopped 29 pucks, and from what I understand, he needed to be good. Because
early
the second,
on, for sure.
Well, they peppered him. I did see that. That's as much as I saw last night. They got it. They peppered him pretty good in the first 3-4 minutes of that hockey game. But from what I read, in the late second period through the third, things changed, and the Knights outshot the Pigs 22-5 in the second half of that hockey game. So Phil needed to be sharp. So this club is in a familiar spot. They have been tied at 1 win apiece. They know this gimmick very well. They've been tied at 1 win apiece many times over the years in the playoff. It hasn't worked in their favor over the years. Game 3 is tomorrow night right here in town.
Yeah.
And we'll see which direction they can go with this. Josh, I understand one of your bros, Dan Dingman, isn't he the boss man over there at the Luther Kia of Bloomington headquarters?
Best buns in the car business. Yeah, Dan, he's the GM over there.
He, because he's a big high roller hotshot, he went out to Vegas to see Game 1.
He's the biggest hockey fan I've ever met. Yeah, he was out there. He sent us some pictures of Foligno.
Is that all he did was take weird pictures of Marcus Foligno all night long?
A couple from the locker room, couple from the ice, a little bit of everything.
Is that a comment by you, Josh, because you followed him around a lot?
Dingman? Oh, I
Because you walked behind him, or
about
what?
his ass cheeks?
Everyone talks about it. Everybody talks about it.
Okay.
We've known Dinger for 20-some years. He's a huge, huge hockey fan, so he's loving this time of year.
Dinger. You went ahead and you're comfortable enough to call him Dinger.
Well, that's not the nickname I've given him. That's his name.
So here they sat, tied at 1 win apiece. I wish I could have watched a hockey game, but that was an impossible task for me.
Right.
Game 3 tomorrow night. I imagine they'll get a pretty decent crowd.
Oh, I think so. And it's an 8 o'clock start tomorrow.
Total
so
sarcasm there, of course.
It'll be at least a reasonable start time.
Sarcasm horn, haven't used it in a while.
Yes.
Oh, I wonder if we'll get more tickets to that. Maybe tomorrow morning. We didn't today. Yesterday, that was cool giving those away.
You're right, Randy Shaver. 8 o'clock, which means, 8:25. Tomorrow night at the X. Yeah, Josh, let's make some telephone calls when the show is over. We'd love to have another set of tickets to hand out to the brother or the damn mighty sister.
Yeah, if nothing else for Saturday's game.
Yeah, Saturday's a 3, so that'll be a fun game.
Oh, that's a perfect time. I love 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Perfect.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
Where are the day drinkers at?
I think they're sitting in your studio.
I used to be one of the best day drinkers in the county.
Same here. I loved day drinking. The key to it was I couldn't drink too many screwdrivers after about 3 p.m. That was my cutoff.
For the screwdrivers?
Yep.
It's good to have limits, actually.
I didn't need to be drinking vodka all day.
Watch out after 3:30 if she has it.
Yeah, I would actually tell people that. I got to switch over to beer or something.
I used to drink a couple of screwdrivers now and again, Ashley, at breakfast when I was a young guy. But then, you know what happened? I ran out of places to put all that diarrhea.
Or the acid reflux.
Yeah, that vitamin C will all sneak up on you.
I ran out of places to put all of that uncontrolled diarrhea.
Jesus God.
It would just go right through me. Day drinking. That'll be Saturday, like you said, a 3 o'clock game. Oh, the bars will be packed. Fights in the streets. New guy in the corner puking his guts out.
He's not used to day drinking.
That's my prediction for Saturday afternoon's game. Okay,
the restaurants are going to love that on their Saturday night.
Oh, yeah.
They'll have a good time, and I imagine they'll probably get a half-decent crowd at the X for those hockey games.
And I think
Well, you guys fell for it the first time. You went, yeah, I suppose they probably would have.
Yeah, I did. I fell for it.
It's going to be friggin' sold out, you dickheads.
We'll get a half-decent crowd in Minneapolis on Friday and Sunday, too, because the Wolves fans will be pumped.
Oh, there's actually only one day between Game 3 and Game 4 this time?
Yeah, but you know what? That extra day here staggers the Wild and the Wolves.
Yeah, it works out well.
Which is great.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Pumped, Randy says. All right, National Hockey League scores from last night. Carolina beat New Jersey. Toronto beat Ottawa in overtime. The Florida Panthers beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 6-2 tonight. Montreal, Washington, Dallas, Colorado, Edmonton, Los Angeles, Peterborough, Hyannisport. Josh, can we hear a little? I really liked this. I thought this was so creative. Can we hear a little bit of the Harmonica national anthem that the LA Kings hauled out for Game 1 of their series with Edmonton?
Here we go.
Yeah, wave, I think.
I'd never seen something like that.
I really like that idea.
A bunch of senior citizens playing the harmonica. I'd never seen a group play the harmonica.
And the crowd was terrific.
Oh, they loved it.
The Los Angeles crowd was singing their nuts off. Josh, specifically, that was the Koreatown Senior Center performing our anthem with harmonicas. I thought that was just great. It says here, though, the home crowd was, quote, straddling the line between trying to remain patriotic and cracking up with laughter at the same time.
It was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, the article even said, I don't know if anyone will try to replicate this or if they actually should.
Well, I saw the headline, so I knew it was coming, but I can imagine being in the stands and seeing that just take, like, are you serious right now? I think this is good. I'm not really sure.
Some of the timing was definitely off. Some of the notes weren't quite right, but
yeah,
they gave it a shot.
I bet you they had a tough time hearing themselves over the crowd. They really probably, because the harmonica is not the loudest instrument in the world. That's why if you ever see anyone play it on stage, they have a microphone pressed directly up against it. I know a thing or two, Josh. I do have experience. When I was a child, my mother bought me a harmonica.
I had a harmonica as a kid.
And I dialed into it. Did you?
Yeah.
How long before your parents regretted that?
Well, it wasn't my parents. It was my uncle, and he did it to piss my parents off.
That's what uncles are there for.
I love being fun uncle.
See, that's way better than, say, a drum set or a guitar. I don't think I bothered my parents at all because, again, a harmonica is actually difficult to hear unless you're friggin'...
well, they can be quite loud.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, did you get the little handbook, Ashley? Showed you how to play Oh, Susanna and the whole works?
Yeah. The cute little book.
I was way dialed in for about 4 months, and then I think maybe I saw Playboy magazine, and then I never,
That's a pretty long time. I think I gave it like 3 days.
Was yours plastic? We had the plastic one.
No,
mine was heavier, like metal.
Oh, you had a legit one.
Yeah.
That's great.
Legit. That's right. All right, I really enjoyed that. Oh, speaking of the national anthem, Eastbound at Sundown, Jesus. Well, not the national anthem specifically, but pregame festivities. Eastbound at Sundown, Jesus has the inside scoop. He says, for Saturday's day game, the Pigs and Vegas at the X, for that 3 o'clock Saturday game, Ryan Suter will be doing the Let's Play Hockey thing.
Oh, cool.
Up on the...
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad he has a chance to do that.
Yeah. And I heard he's going to be counting his money, too, that the Wild paid him.
Well, he's there to get his check. He's got a few more checks coming.
They're going to hand him that giant check right before he does
it. They want him to earn his last bit of money.
He's got to come into town and collect a check anyway, like Josh said.
He'll be selling peanuts between the second and third period.
What do you want to bet that was part of the contract before you walk out the door with all of that money?
This text says, the harmonica anthem was so ridiculous. My husband and I sat there in disbelief. And one point, we both said, what the F is going on? I thought the same thing.
Maybe for Game 3, they're going to have some recorders out there. You know, those little things you used to blow into.
Oh, I could play some hot cross buns.
Yeah,
I bet
you
after
can.
all these years.
You think you could get us through...
Will Dan Dingman be a part of that?
Hottest buns in the car.
You think you could play us hot crossed buns, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm cheating a little bit because 3 kids that went through school and they did the harmonic or the recorder.
The recorder?
So I had some practice over the years.
Oh, now we're talking about the recorder.
Yeah. It's
okay. Sure. Yeah. They handed us those in...
I could never play anything on the harmonica.
Grade school. No?
Nope.
Just noise.
And yes, I know. Again, with this, we get texts whenever we bring up Ryan Suter. Did you know he's collecting a check from 3 different teams? Yes, we know. And he earned every penny.
Right.
Yeah, good for him.
Good for him. Yes, we know. He's earning money from 3 different teams. Yes, we know. He earned it.
I wish I was earning money from the 3 radio stations before they dumped my ass.
Yeah.
You work here and you're not earning any money from here.
Exactly.
None of us are.
It does bring back good memories of when I double dipped for about a year between my current job and my former employer.
Is that how you afforded all those fancy ski-doos and stuff?
Uh-huh.
I don't know, Josh. It sounds like you and I might be in the minority. Not a lot of our listeners enjoyed the harmonica national anthem. Here's a listener who says he'd rather hear the national anthem bequeathed than hear it again played by a group.
I got to be
What's wrong
honest,
with you?
as gross as that is, I would stand and salute. I'd love to hear that.
Randy and Brad hung up. The Wolves were not good early. The Los Angeles Lakers decided to play with some intensity, and it resulted in a 9-point win for L.A. and an even series in that sumbitch. Of course,
super physical game last night.
It was super physical.
Yes, it was.
Baby Nuts poured in all the points, of course, 31 of them, along with 12 rebounds and 9 assists.
Yeah, I actually thought the difference in the game was Austin Reeves last night. The way that he shot the ball and played. And
well, this is what we expected, right? We expected Baby Nuts to pour in the majority of the points, and then LeBron and Austin Reeves would get in the teens or the 20s somewhere. And that's what they all reached last night.
They needed to play that like Game 7, and they did. So.
Yep.
But the Wolves came out of the gate looking like garbage, like they've done so many times this season.
Yeah, but they got the win. They got the game that they needed to get in L.A. So now the real story is going to be Friday and Sunday. How they play, I'm talking about the Wolves now.
Sure.
How they play at home.
Right.
And not, because remember, and they referred to it last night too, when they went to Denver and they won the first 2 games in Denver, and everybody said, oh boy, they're going to sweep Denver in the semifinals. And that thing went 7 games, and they were damn lucky. They had to fight like hell to win that series, down by 20 in Game 7. So how they respond on Friday and Sunday, and I'll guess that the Lakers will be just as physical. I don't know how many fouls there were in the first quarter, but there were a lot.
A lot of whistles last night.
Yeah, and on purpose, because the Lakers were super trying to send a message that they were not going to let you shoot the 3 ball without at least somebody draped on you, and they were going to battle for every rebound, and they were going to push you around, and they did last night.
It's just ridiculous to go down 22 points in the friggin' first quarter, and then you expel all your energy trying to get back into the ball game. That's not going to work, not against good teams, not very often at least.
Yeah.
Wolves never got closer than 9 points. The 3-point shot was missing completely.
Well, both teams could
clubs
not make the 3.
I think they made a combined 11 3-point shots between the 2 clubs.
And the free throws were dead even. Both teams made 20. So it looked like I hate to say this, but it looked like an old-time NBA game.
Yeah, it did. Mm-hmm. It looked mid-90s.
Yep. It was a mid-range, around the bucket, drive to the basket, kind of a basketball game. Yeah. And you don't see that very often, but, the Lakers obviously, played super well to win this, or to win that game and even the series.
It's just kind of...
Huh?
I was just saying, it just kind of feels like a series that's going to go back and forth.
Yep.
Home court's not going to matter a ton like it may be in some other series. And like Game 5, I think it's going to be 2-2 going to Game 5, and whoever wins that game's probably going to win the series.
If Minnesota had played any intensity in the first half, but they outplayed the Lakers in the second half. Yes, they did. But man, that offense they were running was so boring. They just went at Rudy Gobert every time. And they had no body movement, had no ball movement.
That's Charles.
Yeah.
He's right. If the Wolves would have had a better first quarter is where I'm going with this, they might have won the ball game.
Yeah.
And he said that L.A. was boring. Whatever. This is how they say it normally. They say, now it's a series.
Mm-hmm.
Game 3 Friday night here in town.
Yeah, speaking of Game 3, I just looked up ticket prices. To get in the door, you're looking at $250. If you want to get in the lower bowl, $450.
Whoa, all right.
Yikes.
Well, I thought it would be twice that.
Did you really?
Yeah. For the playoff? All right.
That's about it's more than double what the Wild tickets are going for.
Say, what about the Wild game? Because I hear they're expecting a big crowd.
Wild get-in price is $125.
Yeah, I bet they do pretty well attendance-wise.
Yeah.
Good question. We were talking about all the whistles from last night's basketball game. Medical device Jesus wants... He's asking us, Josh, if we remember what the whistles sound like. If I remember right, the whistles go woo-woo.
Yeah, they go woo, woo-woo.
The whistles go woo-woo. He's right. All right, some news on that.
Speaking of him, Nature Boy was at the game last night.
Who?
The Nature Boy.
Was at the Wolves game.
Ric Flair was at the Wolves game.
Yes, he was.
I was unaware of that.
Whistles go woo!
Is that why Janelle Klein wasn't available this week? Because she's in L.A. with Ric Flair?
Probably, yeah. She didn't tell me where she was going, so.
Assault with a dead weapon. That's what they'd call One Night with Ric Flair and Janelle Klein. They would title that evening "Assault with a Dead Weapon." I didn't know the Nate was there. They show him on television?
Yeah, they did, actually.
I saw Dustin Hoffman sitting there. You know what was really annoying? Maybe this is just the liquor talking, Josh, but there was an article out there on how many famous people were at the game last night in Los Angeles. And the author of this article said, okay, Jason Segel was there, whoever that is. I certainly know who Jack Black is. He was at the game.
Yeah.
And they said, and you know who else? Mr. Rain Man himself, Dustin Hoffman. That movie came out 40 years ago, for Christ's sake.
Mr. Rain Man himself.
Mr. Rain Man? That's stupid.
It's a good movie, but when I see him pop up, I'm like, hey, there's Mr. Rain Man.
No, nobody says that. What are you? I don't know.
One, it's kind of weird that he didn't really say too much about other people. I mean, he might have mentioned something they're in, but he didn't give a nickname to anyone else.
Mr. Rain Man. All right, some news on Anthony Edwards. Of course, he was fined $50,000 for grabbing his massive Johnson and saying nasty things to the Laker home crowd during Game 1. We talked about it yesterday. He was grabbing his gear and talking about how large it is and this and that. Oh, and during last night's ball game, Edwards called out the referees by saying that certain players get special treatment. Yeah, we know that already. We know that. But I appreciate him bringing it up again. LeBron James was visibly complaining to the referees, and Ant walked up and said, you know, that's a technical when I say it. And if you don't see that some star players get special treatment by the referees in the NBA, you're in complete denial. It's been going on forever. I'm cool with him bringing that up again.
Yeah.
The other playoff scores from the National Basketball Association last night. Indiana beat Milwaukee. They're up 2-0 in that series. Memphis only lost by 19.
Making progress.
Way better than 51.
I can't imagine what that crowd's going to be like in Memphis for the next two games because, I mean, OKC is going to be – they're going to be hearing it for sure. I think the Memphis fans will get charged up to cheer their team on because it's been a brutal start to this series for the Grizzlies.
I was asking one of my buddies yesterday, how do you think that like pregame locker room speech goes? Like, hey, let's just not lose by 50, guys.
Can only go up from here, boys.
Tonight in the NBA, Oklahoma City, Orlando and Boston, Miami, Cleveland, Golden State, Houston, and San Antonio plays at the Flint Tropics.
There's a few series where you can make a case for the NBA really should go back to a best-of-5 in this opening.
Oh, they should
round.
anyway.
I mean,
they should anyway.
The OKC-Memphis series is a waste of time to go 7 games.
Every series?
Boston, Orlando, I mean, Cleveland, Miami, those are just waste of time series.
Every series in the NHL and NBA playoffs should be best of 5 until the conference finals.
I agree.
I agree with that.
Totally agree.
And what's the name of the cup they're playing for tonight with the San Antonio Flint Tropics game? They're playing, is it the Super Mega Bowl? What is it again?
It's not the Denslow Cup. That's something different.
No, that was basketball. The Super Mega Bowl, the Mega Super Bowl. I'm sure you can find it somewhere on ESPN. They set up a porta potty on set last night on Inside the NBA in case Shaq had to. Did you see the porta potty, Josh?
Yes.
All the highlights coming your way. Chuck is laughing about.
Y'all stupid, man.
We were trying to save it for the beginning of the show.
How the hell you gonna miss a big ass toilet?
Well, you missed it most of the night.
That thing was put down since the last halftime.
You picked a hell of a time to wake up.
Oh my God.
Those guys are so great.
Shaq had a code brown a couple nights ago on the set of Inside the NBA. Is that what they call the show?
Yep.
So they set up a porta john for him. Did he have to go in there? I don't think he ever went in there.
I don't know.
You know who covered in metal Jesus once saw in person, Josh?
Who dat?
Mr. Scent of a Woman himself, Al Pacino.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Did you ever find out what they're playing for in that?
No, I'm trying to find that.
Yeah. All right, someone
You know
called.
who I once saw?
Talk to me.
Mr. Dirty Grandpa, Robert De Niro. I had to turn that movie off.
I never saw it.
Oh, don't.
Never saw it.
Don't see it.
But I love I love Al Pacino too, but you were talking about Robert De Niro. I could watch Raging Bull every day, Taxi Driver every day, Goodfellas every day. What else? What am I missing? Maybe I'm not missing anything. Whoever The Athletic is conducted a poll where NBA players voted to name the most overrated player in the entire league. Thank you, Josh. Any guesses on who NBA players called the most overrated player in their league? Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder.
I seem to remember this poll from last year, and didn't Rudy Gobert win it last year?
The Flint, Michigan Mega Bowl is what it is. They're playing for tonight in Flint between the San Antonio Spurs and the Flint Tropics. Did Rudy Gobert win last year? I think you're right.
Yeah, within the last couple for sure.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So I guess I'll guess him again.
Randy Shaver, guess for most overrated player in the National Basketball Association.
I guess I'd say John Morant.
Okay. It's a good
to me
guess.
personally, I just think he's overrated.
Randy Shaver, your guy, John Morant, came in 7th place.
Okay.
Brad Ryder, your guess of Rudy Gobert, 2nd place. The players voted Tyrese Halliburton of the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
As the most overrated.
Terrible year.
Well, he averaged a double-double.
Yeah, but he was projected to be like a top 10 player in the league going in this year.
Okay.
Just based on his ability to assist and score, and his numbers during the regular season were not very good.
I know it seems kind of odd, but here is the top 9 most overrated players in the NBA. Number 9, and he should be way higher on this list. He's been overrated his entire professional career. Joel Embiid.
Well, he's hurt all the time. That's the problem.
And when he plays, he's quite mediocre.
Well, depends, but yeah.
It does not depend.
Yeah, it does.
You give me 30 free throws, I'm going to average a pretty good... Another member of the Wolves, Julius Randle.
I disagree with that because I don't... Yeah, I disagree with that.
Then John Morant. Then, oh, God, vomit, Draymond Green. Then Bradley Beal. Then Jimmy Butler.
Well, again, Jimmy Butler has the injury issues. Beal does too. So.
And then Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawk.
I agree with that one.
The 6th man of the year is Peyton Pritchard from the Boston Celtics. Sure, I've seen that kid. He cuts his hair like he's going into the service in 1961.
He's a good player.
He is. He beat out
He's a gamer, man.
All right, well, it wasn't terribly exciting until the final out of the ball game, but the Twins were able to beat the Chicago White Sox last night at home by a couple of runs.
Great catch by Buxton. Incredible.
2 men on, 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Twins leading by 2. Member of the White Sox drives one into the center field gap, and Byron Buxton made one of those Byron Buxton-type catches.
In the air to right center field. Buxton on the move to his left. Buxton will dive! And he caught the ball! Buxton caught the ball! Twins win! Twins win! And the Twins win it on a great defensive play by Buxton in right center.
That was lights out. Saved his closer from total embarrassment.
Yeah.
I was leaving the pool league I play in last night, and I saw that the bases were loaded with 1 out. And I was like, oh, at least the Twins are going to win. That's good. And this guy goes, I don't know. I'd wait a second. And I looked at the TV. I was like, oh, my God, please no. Please no.
You got to wait it out.
Got no sure things with this Twins team.
Oh, yeah, my heart dropped.
If you watch that line drive by that Sox player, that final out, the crowd just went, Jesus.
Yeah.
The crowd said, Jesus Christ, here we go.
Yeah.
And then Buck made that grab. So that rookie we were talking about, Luke Keeschel, playing in
batted third last night.
He did. That was weird.
I love it. No, I think it's great.
A guy in his 4th career game batting third.
Yeah, I think it's great. And you know, if he can keep this up, I wish he wasn't just DHing. I wish they'd put him at second base and let him play in the field. But I love his bat, love his patience. He had 2 walks again last night. I mean, the kid is not overwhelmed by the moment, for sure.
Now, listen to this. The Chicago White Sox, they're 1-10 on the road this season, 1-9 against the American League Central. Against the Twins, they are 3-22 in their last 25 games. They've been outscored 157-83. They've lost 13 straight at Target Field. Game 2 is tonight. David Festa makes his 3rd start for the Twins. Chicago's starting some kid by the name of Bryce Wilson. Pablo Lopez possibly back on the mound tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yep.
Eastbound at Sundown Jesus reminded me of another great Robert De Niro movie that I could watch every day, The Deer Hunter.
I could watch Heat every day.
Sure. Deer Hunter, Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder?
I don't remember it.
You don't
Solid. I remember a little bit of it.
It's heavy.
The wedding scene is 45 minutes and totally unnecessary. Other than that,
I love that movie.
Deer Hunter.
I think that's one of the movies that you told me to watch, and I actually did.
You see this? This is this. This isn't something else. This is this. And then the Russian roulette scene.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
Do it, Nikki. Show him you got balls, Nikki. Do it. Do it, Nikki. Oh. That is a perfect imitation of Robert De Niro from the Russian roulette scene in The Deer Hunter. Look it up. You guys aren't going to look it up, are you?
Later.
Uh-huh.
You're not really going to look it up later, are you, Brad?
I might. I didn't say when.
On your deathbed.
Ooh, right. Casino. How do I keep forgetting about these great... Okay.
I thought you said casino.
Maybe I did. You got to see the video connected to this here deal to fully get the vibe. We're sticking with baseball here for a minute. You got to see the video. Folks are saying that we've experienced a glitch in the Matrix, whatever that means, because that movie, never saw it.
You wouldn't like it.
But anyway. Is this video up on our website, Ashley? You know what I'm talking about already, don't you?
Yes, it is.
Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder, you got to see this. You won't believe it.
It's very bizarre.
Even better than my imitation of De Niro and Deer Hunter.
Okay, I'm looking it up.
In a Double-A baseball game featuring the Portland Sea Dogs and Hartford Yard Goats.
Big rivalry.
Something very rare happened. The same exact sequence of events during a singular inning. Let me explain this to you. In the top of the 4th inning with 1 out, a Portland player hit what would normally be a routine grounder to the third baseman, only for the baseball to ricochet off the third baseman to the shortstop who gunned the runner down at first base. In the bottom half of the inning, the exact same count, the same number of outs, the same pitch speed. A Hartford player hit a routine grounder to the third baseman that ricocheted off of that player to the shortstop who gunned the player out at first. Everything about it is so strangely similar, it'll blow your effing mind, and you'll never forget it until the day that you die.
The side-by-side, it's eerie watching these two videos.
Mm-hmm. Watch it and freak out. Even the way the hitters swing is weirdly similar.
That is crazy.
Even the way the pitchers deliver the baseball is very similar. Save that one. You're going to want to watch that again.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Check it out on our website. All right, what the hell is this? An English soccer referee called off a game after finding poop in his shoe at halftime.
Come on.
You'd had enough.
Poop on his shoe or in his shoe?
In.
Okay.
So how did it get there? Was it like somebody scooped it and put it in, or did somebody?
Randy Shaver.
They had to have scooped it.
It was a dog's turd.
Oh, okay.
So who could blame the guy? He goes into the locker room at halftime, and this is a low-level brand of soccer. I mean, beer league soccer. Dude, probably working for peanuts, goes into the locker room at halftime to have a beer, whatever, and just chill out. And he finds a dog turd in his shoe. He walks out of the locker room and he tells both teams they can kiss his ass. He's going home.
Good for him.
I would be out of there too after I threw the shoe into somebody's face. I wouldn't even care if they were responsible. Someone's taken that to them.
The shoe poop.
You will eat shoe poop.
Can you imagine just the disrespect? My goodness.
Nobody knows who it was that brought a dog's feces to the game and then snuck it into the locker room to be placed in the referee's shoe.
And that's why they call it the beautiful game.
I've had a similar incident.
Really?
In high school, when I was a sophomore football player, there was a lot of hazing in my high school. If you were when you were a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
And we came to practice. It was probably mid-season. You would think that the hazing would be done by then, but it wasn't. We came to practice, and every sophomore's padlock on their locker had poop on it.
Mm.
Oh.
And it had been there for a while, so it was all dried on it, right? Every padlock. So it was multiple other seniors who decided, and as I think back on it now, that was, I mean, to get it from point A to point B, I'm talking about the poop now.
Sure.
From point A to point B, that took some talent because there was none on the floor. It was all on the padlock. So you showed up and it was disgusting. I mean,
to me, the real punishment there are the people who had to take the poop and get it on the padlock.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the joke's on them.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, you guys probably went over to the wash, and washed it off, and it was fine. But
this is 1976, so there's no rubber gloves. There's no. Yeah.
What do you mean there's no rubber gloves?
Well, there's nobody. Like today, they're everywhere where you can just grab a.
Not like there's Clorox wipes sitting there, probably.
Yeah. So
well, I mean, okay, I get it. It's a messy job on either end.
And as it turned out, the instigator was the coach's kid. So it just, That was one of many incidents our sophomore year of being hazed.
They were rough on you sophomores.
They really were, yeah.
Oh, I forgot about Midnight Run, Robert De Niro, Midnight Run.
Great movie.
Incredible.
I'm going to do a discreet hang-up.
You got to go?
Goodbye, Brad.
Just for the last time, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bye, Brad.
Goodbye.
Bye, Brad.
Brad has to go.
Get that porta potty.
Bye, Brad.
Some people won't like this. But I'm fine with this. Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts has called himself the face of the NFL.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Are you allowed to do that?
I have no
you're
problem with
not.
that. Why does anyone have a problem with that?
Well, you can't.
After
claim that yourself. Somebody else has to.
embarrassing Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes and the entire Mahomes family this past February, I'll call him whatever the hell he wants me to call him. I'll call him Daddy.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is the face of the NFL.
Well, I think there'd be an argument in Philly that Saquon would be ahead of Jalen Hurts.
He had nothing to do with that victory.
Okay.
Well, what happened was Jalen Hurts was recently featured on the cover of Men's Health magazine. And in the magazine article, he says that he knows he's the face of the NFL, whether he wants to be or not. He said, when you're the MVP of the Super Bowl, you are the face of the NFL. I'm going along with it.
I guess I see what he's saying.
I also see what he's saying, Dana.
Yeah, I kind of pulled an Ashley there, didn't I?
I was sad to read that Mike Patrick has passed away.
Yeah.
Long time ESPN television personality. Watched him many times.
I went back and tried to I did find some of his games and calls, and just to listen to his voice again, because he did have a great voice and was really, I mean, it really was a voice of a generation of ESPN early watchers, because he was the play-by-play guy that you would find on ESPN for college basketball and certainly the NFL on Sunday nights.
Now, just in case anyone's just completely wet themselves, I said Mike Patrick, not Dan Patrick.
Right, Mike Patrick.
Mike Patrick was 80 years old.
Yep.
He started at ESPN way before there was a Dan Patrick.
That's correct.
And he died of natural causes. But, yeah, he was the original voice of Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, for 18 years.
Which, is so massive now. But he was the first guy to be calling those games. He used to call those games, unfortunately, alongside, one of the worst ever, Joe Theismann. Oh, my God.
He wasn't that bad.
Oh, he was terrible.
No, he wasn't.
And speaking of passings, it was 30 years ago that Howard Cosell checked out.
Yeah.
Man, you want to talk about a guy you grew up.
Yeah. He was an icon.
My damn Howard
Yeah,
Cosell.
I mean, true icon.
Balls.
Very self-absorbed icon.
Yeah. Yeah, but he wore it so well.
He did?
He did.
And he didn't shy away from it.
No.
Either.
There was something about that cocky sumbitch kick back with that big friggin' cigar in his yap. He knew he was the man.
And, he earned it.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in that period of time, there was no other more recognizable
sports personality.
Yeah. I mean, Walter Cronkite would rival him as far as a TV personality, other than an actor, right? Everybody knew who Walter Cronkite was. But, in the sports world, he was truly, I mean, he did everything from boxing to the NFL and everything else in between, too.
And, the reason, the first word that comes to mind when anyone talks about Howard Cosell is balls. And we talk about what an arrogant sumbitch he was. He had to be that way because of the characters that he dealt with on a daily basis. You got to have a ton of confidence and balls every day to sit down hip to hip with Muhammad Ali. Who else was, it doesn't matter. That's all you need to say right there. He would sit down with Muhammad Ali and not be intimidated in the least bit.
Remember, and I think I have this right, he was not an original broadcaster. He was a sports writer. I think he wrote, I don't remember who he wrote for, but he was like the first sports writer that they brought over to television. And so he had already been known within the circles of sports, I think I have that right, previous to him being a broadcaster for ABC.
He was one of a kind.
The great line from him is when a guy got hurt, it was the knee. Always the knee.
Mm-hmm. You know who our listener, male nurse Jesus, once met in person, Josh?
Who?
Mr. Fish Police himself, Jesse Ventura.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
You know who print shop Jesus would love to meet someday face to face?
Who dat?
Mr. Stop or My Mom Will Shoot himself, Sylvester Stallone.
I heard they're going to make a sequel to that. I wonder if that's a joke or if that's legit.
I never saw it, but it was a punchline from the second it hit the theaters. We got to go, Randy Shaver.
All right.
We'll talk to you at 7:30 tomorrow.
See ya.
You bet. We'll return here in a few minutes on the program.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
They got their heads up their ass.
On 93X.
Well, after a strange couple of weeks where things appeared in limbo, Nintendo says pre-orders for the Switch 2 in the U.S. will go live tomorrow. Dana here with your video game update. Due to some issues we're not going to get into here, there was a delay in pre-orders for Nintendo's upcoming console launch, but things appear to be on track to get it in your Mario Mitts by release date on June 5th. But, of course, in order to pre-order the Switch 2, you got to be willing to drop a minimum of $449.99. And that doesn't even come with the game. Yeah, a lot is still being made with the big price hikes on the Switch 2 console, the games, and the accessories. So I'm curious to see how many people rush right out and snatch up a pre-order on day one. Nintendo is notorious for short supplying consoles on launch date to build up that I gotta have it hype. So if you want to have one on launch day, a pre-order is your best bet if you don't want to pay a scalper or find yourself standing in line at 4 a.m. Looks like all the big boy retailers will have the Switch 2 up for pre-order starting tomorrow. That includes Target, Walmart, and Amazon. Happy hunting, Nintendo fans.
We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
Bravo TV star Lala Kent holds nothing back.
There's been so many times where I'm like, I apologize that I said that, but that wasn't meant for you to hear.
Feel you there.
How fun would it be to bring in some Bravo celebrities and make our own bracket?
Iconic.
All right, I'll take Dorinda, you take Sonia.
Sonia is who I wish I could be.
You and me both. I cannot be someone in the program. What's PTO?
Pay time off. See? You've never had a real job.
Give them Lala.
It is nothing but honesty.
You guys know.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show, 93X.
It's Wednesday, 8:32. We're all lacking sleep from those friggin' late-night ball games. He's got an overhang. She's got an overhang. We appreciate you gutting it out with us this morning. What's going on over there on Twitter? What am I missing? Any political conversations?
That's pretty much all it is these days.
Yeah.
A small dose of negativity here and there?
A little bit.
Little bit, yeah, but you can say you're not interested in that stuff, so it doesn't show up as much.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you can filter it out as much as you can.
Have you tried it yet, Josh?
When it first came out, I did, simply because I was told we had to around here. And
I missed that speech.
Well, you probably heard it, but it went right out in one ear and out the other. I did for a little bit, but I followed just like a lot of tech stuff.
Oh, technical.
Yeah, that like how do you use this or do that or this is new, that kind of thing. And then after a while, like you said, it just got so political that it didn't appeal to me as much anymore.
I'm say uninterested to all that tech stuff.
To the tech stuff?
Yeah, I'm like, boring.
I like the boring stuff. Yeah, I'm not on, outside of LinkedIn, I'm not on anything.
I love it when you give the rundown of all the Rock and Roll Hall of Famers that are your friends on LinkedIn or whatever the term is.
I reach out like a dork, and I can't believe that they get back to me. Jesse James Dupree, recently of Jackal, and I connected.
Dude.
He's such a good guy.
All right, he was cool out in the casino last year.
Oh, he is such a nice person.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
Please, God, don't text in anything terrible he's done that I'm not aware of. I don't want that image to be ruined, but he's always been so good.
Let's see where we can go with this Twitter conversation. People on Twitter answered this question. Name a behavior that isn't labeled as a form of mental illness, but you feel like it should be.
I love this.
Well, I think, people who are way overly passionate about politics, I mean, it's good that you care.
I rang the bell before you even got there because I knew where the hell you were going.
Yeah, I mean, and some of it is just, to me, is, I know people who are never political and all of a sudden they're the political expert. And I can't figure out this dramatic change. Yeah, go ahead. Get into politics. Make your voice heard. But some people that's all they are anymore, it's kind of scary.
And that's in here, Josh. Name a behavior that isn't labeled as a form of mental illness, but you feel like it should be. Making politics your identity. Here's some of the others. Behaviors that are mentioned. Co-parenting a pet with your ex.
Yeah, that is crazy.
A very nice couple, who I knew, this is a long time ago, 15, 16 years ago. They weren't married, but they lived together for a long time.
Yeah.
and they broke up and they co-parented a dog.
No.
And I'd never heard of that before.
If you break up, one person gets the pet, and that's the end of it.
And they hated each other. I mean, our newest dog is, from what you just said, Ashley, was a husband and wife. Sadly, they get divorced and they give up the dog.
This couple hated each other.
Oh, yeah. They despised each other.
But they still had to see each other every weekend when they'd trade the dog back and forth.
Yeah.
I know it sucks, but the dog will forget about one of you, and that's okay.
When I got divorced, we had a dog, and we didn't do the co-parenting thing like every other week, but I would help out when needed. You know, I'd pop over if I needed to let her out, or my ex was going out of town for the weekend, she'd drop the dog off, I'd take care of it. But it's not like we did the, all right, this is my week with Tori Joe now type of thing.
I had a buddy that him and his ex had a dog together, and when they broke up, he would bring the dog over to her parents' house because the parents would miss the dog. I was like, dude,
oh, man.
Come on.
Well, I had only heard of this recently too, Josh. Co-parenting a pet with your ex to where you schedule, all right, I'll have the dog this day and this day, then can I take the dog to the zoo today? Well, no, I had plans. I had plans with the dog today. I was going to take it to that seems a little odd. I mean, like Ashley said, yes, it sucks, but that pet is probably better off just staying with one of yous.
That would be kind of weird. I was trying to think, like, if I started dating someone and my wife won't allow it. I've brought it up numerous times. She will not allow it. And she's like, yeah, I got to go see my ex who I can't stand. We're sharing the salamander. It's his week. I might think, well, that's odd. I would wonder, are you guys making an excuse to stay in each other's lives?
I would wonder the same thing. That's great.
Because, Ashley, you're the biggest pet lover I've ever met.
Yep.
And if you're willing to say, well, you might have to just give the dog to this person, that says something.
Yeah, you say that, but how easily would, let's say you and your current fiance, something terrible happens, you split up. You'd go to court, I bet, to keep custody of at least one of those dogs.
Well, two of them are just mine. I came into the relationship with them.
But what if he stepped forward and said, yeah, well, but it's been my paycheck that's been feeding and caring for these dogs for all these years?
Oh, I'd kill him.
Okay, you'd kill him.
Yeah, I'd simply just kill him.
Are there some of these situations? Well, this is a stupid question because in today's society, everyone sues everyone upside down for the stupidest thing. So I'm sure there are pet custody cases that go to court.
Oh, there are. Yeah, I've definitely read about those.
Yeah.
Riddle of Steel Jesus said co-parenting a pet has a lot to do with spite. I never considered that aspect.
Absolutely. I'm upset with myself that I didn't consider that. Absolutely spite.
Oh, I wonder what the percentage is.
You love that cat so much? Well, guess what? He's mine now because I'm the one who's cared for him. I'm the one who's paid the bills. Sure.
Yeah, they might not have any interest otherwise than just to screw the other person over.
I know this is going to sound mean, but I want you and your fiance to break up now. I do. And I want him to say, all these dogs are mine because I'm the one who's done this and I'm the one who's done that.
That would have to be out of pure hatred because he would totally be fine being like, yeah, take your two dogs. They're the problem dogs. So
my dog's the good one.
Landscaper Jesus said, if they're still co-parenting the dog, that means the foot is still in the door. He's seen it too many times. Yeah, I wonder that too.
Mountain Mayhem Jesus says, man, how great are those dogs' Christmases?
Oh, my gosh.
I would never cheer for a family to be broken up by divorce, but I do remember, like, kids whose parents were divorced, Christmas was awesome for them, especially the first couple of years because each one's trying to be the cooler parent.
See, my brother and sister and I, we didn't have that situation.
Yeah, it didn't work for you guys?
No, there was no competing over who could wow the children.
There was a moment in my life where I thought, God, maybe if my parents broke up, Christmas would be pretty sweet around
We didn't have that situation. Our parents really didn't care for us very much. They didn't really care for us much. Didn't really matter. All right. Another behavior, according to Twitter, that isn't labeled as a form of mental illness, but maybe it should be. I know very little about this kind of thing because I'm not on social media. Having an Instagram for your baby or pet, okay, And I see what they mean now. And posting in the first person. So you have a little picture of your baby, and the baby says, "Hi everyone, I went to the park today." Right? You see what I'm saying?
I think that's kind of cute, actually.
I do know some people that.
Do you really, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, there's some that got real popular. What was that fat cat that was crazy popular?
Grumpy Cat?
Yeah, Grumpy Cat.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the gist there?
Yeah, it was just the cat looked pissed off and posted photos of it and made millions of dollars.
Yeah,
I like the pet ones.
But did they have quotes where Grumpy Cat was saying, "I took a poop in my box today, and my mommy and daddy love me"?
Did they do that as well?
I never followed the cat, to be honest with you. I just know of it.
Because I think that's a big difference. If you've got a funny-looking kid or a funny-looking animal, and you make them into a character on social media, and everyone thinks it's funny and fun, great. But I do think it's a little creepy when you have the little fake quotes from the infant baby or the little puppy. You know what I'm saying?
It depends on how good they are.
Yeah, the baby ones would be weird, but I do follow some dog ones I think are pretty funny and pretty cute.
Does the dog ever say, "I got a terrible beating today"?
Well, there's some where they do the voiceover for the dog, as if the dog is narrating.
Okay, I love those videos.
I do too,
those are hilarious.
Good boy Ollie and Tater, I love them.
Yeah, I forgot about those videos. Those are great.
Now, some people say, I've heard this said, get your friggin' babies and your kids off the internet. What are you doing?
That's how I feel about my family. You go ahead and do it how you want to do it, but I don't like the photos and stuff out there. My wife feels quite differently, and she wins that argument constantly.
Yeah, sometimes, Josh, I inform you what your kid is up to based on photos I see on Facebook that your wife posted.
That's true. Some people say, "Hey, I saw your wife did this." I'm like, "What are you talking? She did? What do you mean?" And then you'll mention, "Oh, I was on Facebook," or whatever she's on.
Yeah, Ashley, you wouldn't like that if you were looking at the pet speaking in the first person like a human being. You wouldn't like that if the pet was looking into the camera and it said, "I got run over by a kid on an e-bike today."
Surgery was fun.
Yeah.
5 stars all the way.
They gave me a lot of treats after surgery. Yay!
No.
Yeah, on a Tuesday. I'm getting neutered tomorrow. Wednesday.
Oh.
Well, the neutering happened this morning. There go my dog balls.
I would love that.
All right, well,
people love Good Boy Ollie.
Yeah, Good Boy Ollie rules.
Who's Good Boy Ollie?
I'm going to have to look that up.
Oh, he's a good boy. And he has a younger brother named Tato that can be a little mischievous sometimes.
Yes, he can.
Do they talk?
Yes, they do voiceovers for the dogs.
Voiceovers?
Yeah.
I think you
Give
would
me a friggin' break.
Oh, it's fun.
there's some videos that I think you'd be a fan of, Nick.
Well, do they
Is there
get
one
kind of...
that you recommend?
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to go through my videos.
Oh, I love it. Every Christmas they do the advent calendar and go through and do a different Christmas activity each day.
I just thought of something. My wife watches one of these Instagram channels or whatever it is with a talking cat.
Cute. I'm Officer Good Boy.
Is this the right one, Ash?
What?
Yes, it is.
They didn't put a police hat on top of a dog, and now he's Officer Good Boy.
Oh, like you don't want to see a dog with a police hat on.
I just got an intern, Officer Raptor, and it's their first day on the force. They're not saying anything.
If my wife is listening, she needs to text me and tell me the name of that cat that you watch videos where the cat talks.
Does the cat love lasagna? If so, I can answer that question.
No, it's not that.
Hates Mondays?
I've watched them before with her. This is a route we found ourselves going down. We had Twitter started a conversation. They had a question. Name a behavior that isn't labeled as a form of mental illness, but you feel like it should be. And one of the behaviors listed here is having an Instagram for your baby or pet and posting in the first person. Little quotes. Tiny little baby, but he's saying something. He's got a quote, right? And then you guys told me that they even have some of these pet videos where a pet is walking around and they, what's the word I'm looking for, Josh? They superimpose a voice? What's the word I'm looking for?
Put a voiceover.
They put a voiceover in. And so you're telling me that's a character called Good Boy Ollie, and he has an English accent?
He does.
And he narrates everything he does. He walks around the yard. And you can watch this without falling unconscious and then waking up strangling a random animal?
When I was like you when I first heard about them. My wife introduced me to them. We newly started dating, and I'd watch like, oh, okay, yeah, dog video, and I'd pretend like I enjoyed it. But then I found myself looking up these videos and watching them, and I enjoy them thoroughly.
I think I would fall unconscious and then wake up with a strange animal in my grasp.
I like the videos where the dogs are like smart asses. I think you would like those.
I think I would fall into some kind of a psychopathic rage, Josh.
I can tell you they're popular via text here. Everyone knows who Ollie is, it appears. I'd never heard of him until you brought him up.
So wholesome.
By the way, I was saying that my wife locks isn't a word. My wife likes to watch a certain cat video where the cat speaks. I couldn't think of the character's name, but many of you texted in, and you're correct. It's Penny. Any of you heard of Penny?
No.
She's a cat, and she likes ham.
Are there voice actors?
Yes.
Or maybe the computer, like with Ollie?
I think there's voice actors. That's right. Thank you. What did I say her name was? Penny. All right. Some of these other behaviors that Twitter says are not labeled as a form of mental illness, but you feel like it should be. Being obsessed with celebrities' lives. A lot of us have that problem these days.
That's great. Yeah, they call them the stands.
Mm-hmm. Stands.
Yep.
And that is...
I believe,
like a
correct me if I'm
fan,
wrong,
right?
but yeah, I believe it has a connection to the Eminem song.
Yeah, I thought that's how it kind of got popular, or maybe that's where it started.
Eminem had a song on the Marshall Mathers LP called Stan that was about a psychotic, overly obsessed fan. And then that people just kind of co-opted that to name, if you're obsessed with something, you're a stan
so
for that.
STANS. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Some of the worst I see are Ariana Grande or Taylor Swift, Harry Styles. Those kind of scare me. Like, I'm scared to even say that out loud.
They go after people.
You just read all of my tattoos. I have each of those tattooed on me.
Do you have the same tattoos that they have, Josh?
Can you imagine how creepy that would be?
Creepy.
It happens.
It does.
Barefooted Jeep Hair Jesus has texted in to say that good boy Ollie is crazy boring, but still a good boy. Here's another behavior that maybe should be labeled as a mental illness if you ask the folks who hang out on Twitter. Saying someone does something because of their astrological sign.
Oh, yeah. I've been noticing this more and more because I'll tell people that my son is due in August, and they're like, "Oh, he's a Leo." I don't know what that means.
That's funny because over the weekend somebody said I heard we were at a dinner and I heard somebody say to someone else, "Oh, you are such a Scorpio."
Mm-hmm. That is such Taurus behavior.
Yeah, I didn't know fully what that meant.
It's kind of like the political people. It's their first move. Anything that you say or do, they think is based on your astrological sign, just like there's a lot of overly political people who think every word that comes out of your mouth, you are driven by your political choices.
Are we allowed to do that to get out of trouble? You know, whatever it is? Yeah, I ate your lunch, but I'm in Aries.
Wearing too much weed gear, hats, shirt, socks, etc.
Yeah, that needs to chill out, especially if you're over the age of 18.
I'm trying to get better about wearing things that aren't just things I'm passionate about.
I'm proud of you, Dana.
I'm trying to grow up a little bit in that regard.
You got a Pabst Light hat on.
I do. I got this hat last week at a gig. I think it's a pretty bitchin' hat.
It is a bitchin' hat.
Yeah.
Some folks say this is a form of mental illness, breaking up and going back with the same person over and over and over and over again. You break up, you're together, you break up, you're together, you break up, you're together.
Yeah, I don't know if that'd
Wasting
be
your time.
a sign of mental illness, but yeah, I did that just one relationship and I'm done with that. If the relationship's over, I'm just going to keep it that way.
Everyone's got to do it once.
Yeah, you look back, you're like, well, it didn't work the first, second, or third time, but the fourth, this is really going to be the one that sticks.
I remember people even saying that, giving me advice on it, and I thought, well, you just don't know us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, so you're saying you were in one of those?
Just once, yeah.
How many times did you go back and forth, worthy?
4 times, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, you knew her.
I did?
Yeah, very...
I don't remember that you ever were in that situation.
Yeah, she had a nun's name, if that helps you at all.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was... I knew her for a very long time, and it was 4 times, I think.
I remember her. I don't even know why the hell you went back the first time. Ashley just introduced us to this a couple days ago, being a Get Ready With Me content creator.
Yeah, I enjoy watching those videos sometimes, especially if they include cooking at any level. But when I do think about the fact that they have to set their camera up, hurry up and get back into bed, and then videotape themselves getting out of bed, and then they got to go set their camera up in the bathroom and then brush their teeth in front of the camera. I'm like, yeah, that is a little crazy, isn't it?
Well, let me ask you this about the Get Ready With Me content creators. Do they start in the nude? Oh.
Honestly, I'm sure some of them do.
Time to pull on my panties now.
Maybe that's an OnlyFans thing.
Probably, yeah.
My son did something annoying yesterday, so he lost his phone. I took his phone from him. I'm just getting tired of something, and I'm like, all right, your phone's gone, And he's like, oh, can I post real quick that my phone's taken away? I'm like, no, you don't need to make an announcement. Hey, just so you know, I'm not going to be available by phone. My dad has taken that away from me.
Oh, my gosh.
I thought, you know what, there's an extra day, a-hole.
He felt the need to give his fans an update?
Yeah, they had to know. His people.
His 4 followers.
A couple of our listeners say that over-the-top dance and pageant moms should be, what's the word I'm looking for, labeled as a mental illness.
Well, somebody texts in you people who are way, way, way too into their kids' sports.
Oh, yeah.
You hear stories about that all the time.
Yeah, the over-the-top ones.
Calling yourself a plant mom or a plant dad?
I've never heard that.
Yeah, get a real, get a pet. Have a kid.
Oh,
that doesn't count.
We've killed a lot of our children then, if there's plant dads out there. My God, we cannot keep a plant alive.
Me either. I've tried so many times.
Orton Lover, she just said, what about people who make going to the gym their whole personality?
Yeah.
My mom makes everything in her life about her stupid Zumba class. Don't care! Those are her words, not mine.
All right, finally on this conversation of a behavior that isn't labeled as a form of mental illness, but you feel like it should be. One of our listeners texted in, furiously yelling at the radio announcers while in your car, like they can actually hear you. We got to go.
Before we do, we got to shout out. Where did I do that? Yes. Happy 50th to Female Painter Jesus. Hope it's your best yet, and hope you join us again tomorrow.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
You gotta be kidding me. Who greenlit this garbage?
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.